And welcome to Selhurst Park for live Premier League commentary here on 5 Sports Extra between Crystal Palace and Brentford. Palace have won successive Premier League games for the first time this season, having been victorious at Leicester and West Ham. 3 victories in their last 4 as well. Just the 1 defeat across their most recent 11 in the top division as well. So certainly confidence is flowing for the Eagles. As for Brentford, they come into this on the back of a narrow defeat to the leaders Liverpool, when Liverpool scored twice in stoppage time. However, they have lost 7 of their last 10 Premier League away games, with just the 1 victory on the road so far. Alongside me for this one is the former Premier League player Matt Jarvis. And Matt, let's first of all address the elephant in the room. It is a horrible day weather-wise.
Yes, it is awful. Yeah, the rain is really coming down here, and as you see, the cheerleaders on the pitch now waiting for the teams to come out, and they are freezing cold.
Yep, it is a nippy day here in South London as we await the entrance of the 2 sets of players at a grey and wet and murky Selhurst Park. And indeed, they stride out now. The match referee, Tony Harrington, picks up the ball from the plinth, and the players emerge to our right-hand side from the corner of the Homesell Road end and the main stand, which is where we are based for our full match commentary this afternoon. The strains of Palace's anthem, Glad All Over, ring out as the teams make their way down towards the centre circle. Let me run you through the lineups then, starting with Palace, who have Dean Henderson in goal. Their back 3 from left to right is Mark Gay, Maxence Lacroix and Chris Richards. Tyrick Mitchell and Daniel Munoz are the wing-backs, with Jefferson Lerma and Will Hughes the 2 midfielders in the middle, with Lerma coming in for Daichi Kamada in Palace's 1 change from the side that started the victory at West Ham. Their front 3 remains the same: Ibera Eza and Ismail Assar either side of the in-form Jean-Philippe Mateta. Brentford also 1 different from that 2-0 defeat to Liverpool last time out. Flecken remains in goal. It is the same back 4 as well of Lewis Potter, Vandenberg, Collins and Roerslev, with Janelt and Norgard continuing in their shielding role. The 1 alteration comes further forward. Yarmulke drops out of the side. It is Mikkel Damsgaard who plays just behind the front 3 of Kevin Schade, who is introduced to the 11, Brian Mbumo, and in the middle, Johan Wissa. Where do you see the key battles given those 2 lineups being today, Matt?
Well, I think it's the front 3 of Crystal Palace. That's their strong point. Eza has been so prolific in the last few games. I think he's got 5 goals or assists in the last 5, so he's got 2 goals, 3 assists. I mean, he's in fine form. Mateta's scoring goals again, so I see that's the threat for Crystal Palace. And I think Visser and Mbuma, they're the players for Brentford that are going to have to perform. Defensively, they've not struggled, but they like to attack, so I think the attacking areas for both teams are going to be really important.
Oliver Glasner just strides down towards his place in the dugout. They'll have to be careful that they don't slip up, Thomas Frank and Oliver Glasner, as they exchange pleasantries, a handshake and a hug between the 2 head coaches. I don't think managers generally wear football boots, do they? But they might have been advised to today, given the muddy situation in the respective technical areas.
Yeah, it doesn't look good down there. It's like a mud bath. So I don't see them sprinting out from the dugout that quickly today.
So we are all set here for the latest instalment of Palace against Brentford. There was a bit of controversy on the opening weekend of the season. This is, of course, the reverse of the first weekend of the campaign in the Premier League. Palace thought that they had taken the lead through Ibera Eza. His free kick, though, didn't count because referee Sam Barrett whistled before it had gone beyond the goal line. He later admitted that was a mistake. He shouldn't have whistled. Palace went on to lose that game, and they endured a pretty rotten start to the campaign as a result of that. But they'll come into this one seen as the favourites to get the result, given the form. And you saw Palace at West Ham recently, Matt, didn't you? And it wasn't a great game, truth be told, at the London Stadium, but they were certainly the better side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as I mentioned about them 2 players, you've got Eza and Mateta, they're so important to the way that this Crystal Palace side play. They're playing through the lines. You can go long to Mateta, but it's the link up with Eza. It's them 2 combining that's going to really affect this Brentford back back four really. It's the running, it's the little intricate 1-2s round the corners, and obviously finishing in front of goal is key.
Well, it will be Palace to get us on the way in their traditional red and blue shirts, kicking from right to left in the first half. Brentford in what I can only describe as a light pink shirt with darker shorts and pink socks, as Iberra Eze gets the ball rolling here at Selhurst Park. Palace have it with Dean Henderson just outside his penalty area. Long pump ball forwards, looking for Mateta early on. Mateta gets his head to it but can't find a teammate, bounces in centre field. Iberra Eze has it for Palace and has had a go from distance, and it dribbles wide of the post. Well, less than 20 seconds on the clock and Palace have already had a strike at goal.
Yeah, well, as we mentioned, it's Mateta making himself useful up the top with the two defenders trying to close him down, but he wins or blocks the header, but it drops to Eze, and as a forward-thinking player, you want to get your shot off early, get a first sight to goal, but unfortunately not on target this time.
Iberra Eze with that early effort, and he comes into this with 7 of his last 8 Premier League assists being for Jean-Philippe Mateta, so those two are a very useful partnership for Crystal Palace, who have got some defending to do at the moment, as Brentford have got a throw on the left-hand side with under a minute played at Selhurst Park. The rain looks to have relented a bit, but it's still a very skiddy surface out there and treacherous underfoot, so players will have to be sure when they're playing back passes and the like, as the ball is hurled into the Palace area. Lacroix underneath it, heads it away from the 6-yard box. Damsgaard scoops it back into the danger zone. Mark Gay gets something on it. Will Hughes helps it further clear. It's still bouncing around not too far outside the Palace penalty area. Keane Lewis Potter out on the left. He's outnumbered because Munoz and Richards are there, but Lewis Potter has done well to win the first corner of the game for Brentford.
It's good from Potter on the left-hand side. He's got nowhere to go, so he needs to do something, and he's won himself a corner kick for his team, and set pieces are so vital for both teams, because this is an opportunity now to get a good cross into the box, and you can make them runs. There's a big team. Brentford have got a big team here. You're looking into the box. They've got to make this opportunity count.
So corner kick for Brentford. 2 minutes played at Selhurst Park, and it'll be Damsgaard to whip it in towards the near stick, and it's met by Norgard just in front of the front post, and I thought it might have been a training ground routine, but if it was, it didn't come off because it rebounds off Norgard and behind for a goal kick. Yeah,
I was just saying about how important set pieces were, and there, it's definitely not worked on. He's obviously trying to do a short near post one, but it was almost on the ground, and he's trying to have a touch to sort of try to keep it alive, but it just kicks it out of play. Really disappointed.
Palace have scored 9 goals from set pieces and 6 from corners, so when they get one, Brentford will have to be alert, as you were referencing how important dead ball situations are. Here is Ismaila Sarr for Palace, goalless at Selhurst Park. Sarr bringing it forwards on the right flank, opts to go back to Chris Richards, that big mop of black hair, as he finds Lacroix in centre field into the feet of Jefferson Lerma. One thing I noticed when looking through the stats is that Crystal Palace actually are the team with the most pressures in the Premier League this season. They have 4 players who rank in the top 20 for that as well, in Sarr, Mateta, Eze and Mitchell. That is the way that Oliver Glasner likes his side to play, as the ball is pumped towards the Brentford penalty area. It looked like it might have been a mistimed clearance from Van den Berg, but they've managed to run it clear as Roerslev slaps it up the line, and it's deflected out of play by Eze for a Brentford throw. Matt Jarvis.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that. You can see the way that they press. They like to get the ball forward, I would say, quicker, but as soon as the ball goes up there on the second balls, they're winning things higher up in the pitch, and that's where they can nick the ball back, and they've got their influential players up the top that can create something or get a shooting opportunity.
So Brentford take this throw. Damsgaard dabs it back to Johan Wissa just outside his own area. Now Keane Lewis Potter, such a good versatile player who's been doing really well at left back. He kept Mo Salah quiet for pretty much all of the game last weekend against Liverpool, but they've lost possession here, and Richards can run it forwards from defence. He tries to find Sarr, who looked to backheel it into the path of the flying wing-back Daniel Munoz. The Colombian couldn't get there in time, and Brentford might be able to do something on the counter now. Wissa held up by Lacroix. This is just inside the Brentford half, so the Palace centre-half had gone a long, long way up the pitch there.
He did, but he's done well. Really good defensive works. He blocked it because Mbeumo was up the line. He was looking for that ball in behind Mitchell, but really good defending. He's come a long way, but he made his tackle.
5 minutes played then, goalless at Selhurst Park, as Oliver Glasner gets some instructions out to his players. And Brentford take the throw in towards Damsgaard. Quick flick up the line for Brian Mbumo to chase. Mark Gay decides to take no chances and just pop it out of play for a throw, which Mbumo looked to take quickly, but there were no Brentford players ready, so he'll just leave it on the ground, and Kevin Chada, who's got a bit more trajectory with his deliveries, will hurl this into the area.
I can't see any towel on the sideline though, because that's what he's going to be needing today.
Yeah, that's right. It is still slippy out there. Chada just uses his shirt to mop off some excess water from the ball, still waiting for the breakthrough with 5 minutes played at Selhurst Park. Brentford now send all their players towards the penalty spot region as Chada winds himself up and hurls this in. Didn't get the distance he was perhaps hoping for, but it's helped on handily in there, and Palace have made a meal of getting it away. Jefferson Lerma trying to help it further clear. Janelt back for Mbumo, edge of the penalty area. Two Palace players go to close him down. Mbumo's forced wide, and as he forced out of play he is, and Palace get the throw.
Well, that is really good pressing, really good defending from Crystal Palace, because they didn't get the initial first contact and it was bouncing in around the box, but the pressure they put on Mbumo to get out, really impressive, and they win the throw-in from it.
As I say, they're the team with the most pressures in the Premier League so far this season, which is slightly surprising because you think about the way some of the top teams play, you might have expected it to be one of the title contenders or Champions League chasers rather than the Palace side, who are in mid-table at the moment, albeit having improved their form markedly over the last couple of months. Tyrick Mitchell in the left wing-back position for Palace has made good ground. He's over halfway now. Kevin Chada gets back at him to just stunt his progress, so he goes infield to Jefferson Lerma. Ismail Assar back to goal, about 40 metres out from goal, and now collects once again in centre field. He's closed down by Norgard, so pops it back to Will Hughes, who's enjoying a real renaissance in his career, although he's not that old. Here's Jean-Philippe Mateta, who could be in and goes for a goal, and it's tipped over the top by Flecken. Well, he doesn't need long, does he, to make his mind up. Mateta let fly very early doors there. Save though you'd expect Flecken to make. Mateta might be disappointed it wasn't a more troubling block for the keeper.
No, but it's Will Hughes there in the centre of the pitch, plays a lovely ball to Eza, whose movement was just stayed nice and still, and then he just burst the pace to the left. Lovely little flick into Mateta, who's got his touch away and hit a really good strike, but a little comfortable for the goalkeeper.
Closest we've come to the opener then, with 7 minutes gone, as Tony Harrington, our referee today, goes into the Brentford 6-yard box to have a word with a couple of Palace players who are getting up close and personal to Mark Flecken. We see that so often these days from set pieces, the goalkeepers being sort of blocked off by opposition players, but they're trying to stay the right side of the law so they don't give Brentford a free kick for it. In towards the near post and flicked across dangerously. I think that came off a Brentford head last. It's another Palace corner.
Yeah, and looking down and where Eza's taken the corner from, there's not much room down there, and there's not much grass either, so you can see he's only had really one step to then put the ball in, so really good near post flick on as well.
As I said, Palace are pretty handy from set pieces. Only Arsenal have scored more goals from them than the Eagles so far this season in the Premier League. Will Hughes is going to take this one from the right side as Palace look at it, so it'll be bent in swinger towards Flecken's goal as Hughes takes it. Good looking ball as well. Underneath it though was Van den Berg, and Palace could be in here. Munoz angles against him. He might have been being tugged back but didn't go to ground, the Colombian. Munoz now waits to try and deliver the ball in towards the penalty area. Not enough elevation on it. It's not been cleared though. Gay pokes it across. Lacroix chasing, and Johan Wisser trying to block him off. Lacroix, can he get the cross in? He can't. It's blocked off by Johan Wisser, and now Lewis Potter has it. Brentford under the pump for the last couple of minutes, and Lewis Potter trying to relieve the pressure now as he brings it up to just shy of halfway, and Lacroix pops it out for a Brentford throw. Matt Jarvis.
Yeah, I think Brentford now, they want to take their time. Potter's keeping hold of the ball now because they've been under a lot of pressure here, and it's Crystal Palace that they're just winning all the second balls as well. And the chance from Mateta comes from just two really good bits of movement, and Eza's the one that's got that delightful little flick round the corner.
So Palace having the better of it early on, but still 0-0 here at Selhurst Park. There's live commentary of Spurs against Leicester for you on 5 Live at the moment, and we'll also have West Ham against Aston Villa at Villa Park at 4:30. The other game today is Fulham at home to Manchester United, a 7 o'clock kickoff at Craven Cottage for that one. It's goalless, by the way, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium between Spurs and Leicester in the other 2 o'clock start in the Premier League. Flecken, who's made that one decent save so far to keep Mateta out. That's the only chance of note so far, as it's banged forwards by Collins, who's looking for Schade on the left-hand side. Richards up to meet the ball, though. His header's collected by Lewis Potter, worked back into centre field for Brentford, and Janelt will knock it to Christian Norgard. And Brentford patiently building out from the back. Hughes quickly onto Lewis Potter and dispossesses him, but it's a poor pass by Chris Richards, which has given it away to Norgard in the middle of midfield. Ismail Assar collects, and under pressure from Norgard has skipped away from him, and another tackle. Did really well there, Ismail Assar, eventually fouled, and it's going to be a free kick for Palace.
Yeah, really good play, strong, good feet. He's nipped in and around on that right hand side, and he's also been really strong to put his body on the line and win himself and his team a free kick just over halfway.
Palace 12th in the Premier League now, their highest position this season. They were in the bottom 3 in late November, with just 1 defeat in their last 11 league games, 5 wins, 5 draws in that period, the only loss being a heavy one to Arsenal here. So you can write that off as a bit of a blip when you look at their record in the other 10 games during that period. Dean Henderson has the ball at his feet here. He's closed down the Palace keeper by Damsgaard and then drills it long, aiming for Mateta. Didn't have enough juice on the pass, though, and Brentford have it with Johan Wissa on halfway. Goalless between Palace and Brentford on 5 Sports Extra as Roerslev finds the feet of Mbumo. A bit sloppy from him. He's given it away to Tyrick Mitchell cheaply. Infield to Jefferson Lerma for Palace. Will Hughes under pressure, has lost it to Damsgaard, which could have been dangerous, but it's cleared by Lacroix, and Mitchell, this time closed down by a couple of Brentford players, has been forced into the error. Brentford giving Palace a taste of their own medicine there, as Lacroix has to hack it away under pressure. Eza should keep it in, and a clever touch from him, dabs it back to Tyrick Mitchell. His ball forward to Mateta is misguided as Oliver Glasner hops around on the touchline in frustration that they gave the ball away cheaply there, and now retreats to his dugout to have a word with some of his assistants. Meantime, Brentford coming forwards with Schade left flank as they look at things. Janelt now pops the cross in, and Mbumo waiting at the far post. Mitchell got the touch, and behind it goes for a Brentford corner.
Yeah, it just got a bit scrappy there in this closest side to us. The ball's not really on the floor, it's a bit up in the air, but Brentford work it, so they've got themselves a corner here, but it's just something they need to get the ball down. They're not really got into their flow yet, Brentford.
Well, Brian Mbumo sending out a message to his teammates with some hand signals as he placed the ball in the corner quadrant, ready to take this left-footed and swing it in towards Dean Henderson's goal. 0-0 with 30 minutes gone at Selhurst Park. And Mbumo's corner towards the near post, and the flick header is over the top from Christian Norgard. It was a decent run from the Brentford captain. He got a clear run at it, but the header was poor.
Yeah, he's run right from the back. None of the Crystal Palace players have seen him. He's come right from the back, right across the front, and then once he gets there, he's actually just trying to guide it on. He could have he's trying to flick it on really to his teammates to the far post, but he's just got it wrong. But he's made a really good run, and that's where they've been working, that front post area.
Brentford losing 7 of their 10 away league games this season, just the 1 victory. It's a record that stretches back towards the back end of 2023, losing 17 of 24 since then. So much stronger at home, although they have kept a clean sheet in their last 2 Premier League away games, which is some cause for optimism that they can come away from Selhurst Park with something today. But they're yet to test Dean Henderson. Just the one Palace effort of note when Mateta was kept out by Flecken as Brentford build it out from the back. Damsgaard's dropping deep and has released Lewis Potter now on the left. Early ball in from him towards Schade, read by Maxence Lacroix. Richards in towards Will Hughes, did well under pressure but then played a heavy pass. Norgard has it for Brentford, about 10 yards outside the Palace area, but he's lost the ball cheaply. And like you were saying, Matt, just gone a bit scrappy, hasn't it? Both sides giving the ball away carelessly.
Yeah, but I'd say Brentford are just starting to find their way. You know, they've had a couple of balls that have just been slipped down the side. Lewis Potter's been the one that's been on the attacking sense down that left-hand side as well.
Eza now for Palace on halfway. Didn't have many options to play the pass to, so has dribbled through the middle himself. No pressure coming the way of Ibera Eza, so he's able to just casually knock it back to Jefferson Lerma, who's slap bang on halfway. Square ball from him to Mark Gay. Palace with almost all of their players now in the Brentford half as they look for a gap. Eza can't find a forwards ball though, so it's back to Gay, and he goes further back to Lacroix inside the centre circle. Lacroix short ball to Will Hughes, who takes a couple of steps and works it wide to the right, and Daniel Munoz, who's got Ismail Assar close to him, looking for the 1-2 perhaps with Ismail Assar. It's back to Munoz instead, and he'll go all the way back to Chris Richards, and Palace will start again with Lacroix on halfway. Damsgaard goes to close him down. Lacroix then clips it up towards Ismail Assar, who did well to control it, was having his shirt tugged. Play goes on. Munoz back for Sarr. This is on the right flank for Palace, and now it's Maxence Lacroix in centre field. Lacroix with the time to pick out the cross, doesn't reach Mateta. Vandenberg's underneath it, and now it's Shardo, nearly gave it away in a bad area. Palace have got it back, although not for long. Tyrick Mitchell racing forwards, and it goes out off Roslev for a throw.
Yeah, looks like Brentford are quite happy to sit right in. All of their players were just on the edge of the box really, and Crystal Palace are having so much time and space to pick a pass. You know, that midfield area where Will Hughes gets on the ball, and then there's Eza, Sarr and Mateta, they're just finding gaps. So I wonder if that was just the ploy to just drop a little bit deeper and make sure them gaps are as small as possible.
Matt Jarvis with us on 5 Sports Extra for Premier League commentary here from Selhurst Park of Palace 0, Brentford 0 with 16 minutes gone. Damsgaard's flick in centre field doesn't come off for Brentford, so Lacroix can pick it up. And again, there's no serious pressure on the ball, just he advances to just beyond the edge of the centre circle in the Brentford half, and then there's a wall of pink shirts blocking his route forwards. He plays it in towards Mateta now. Heavy touch from the Frenchman, which doesn't do Jefferson Lerma any favours. He can't get there. Roslev's clearance though is blocked, and Mateta has nudged it on to Ibera Eza. Eza's control is excellent, and has sent it back infield to Jefferson Lerma. 30 yards out. Mateta's touch, he got away from Collins, but the ball got away from him as well, and it's sent home by Vandenberg.
Yeah, it's them little pockets of space that Eza's trying to get himself into, and that Lerma does it well. Him and Will Hughes in the middle of the park, they do look for that ball in between the gaps, in between the spaces, and it's not up in the air, it's along the floor, and they're getting some joy from it.
Mitchell in towards Eza in the centre circle. Now it's Will Hughes bringing it forwards for Crystal Palace. Hughes has options to left and right, goes to Eza, who finds Lerma, and Oliver Glasner is hopping mad that they didn't play a forward pass there. Lerma's now tried to slip it through to Mateta, who was aiming for Ismail Assar. Flecken clears, but the flag was up. Yeah,
once again it is that one through the middle, but as you say, when that full first pass went into Eza, he had time to turn and go forward, so you can understand why the manager was not pleased with him going backwards. But it is just one little touch, little flick round the corner. Mateta finds himself on the edge of the box, and he's able to pin the defenders, and he's got that little touch that he's got Eza and Sarr running off him, and it is dangerous.
0-0 at Selhurst Park with 19 minutes gone. It's still goalless at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as well, between Spurs and Leicester. On 5 Live later, full commentary of Aston Villa against West Ham, and there's another Premier League game as well this evening. That's Fulham against Manchester United at 7 o'clock. Here is Lacroix for Palace. He just overran it in a bad area, 10 yards outside his own box, and Brentford have got it back with Johan Wisser on the edge of the area. Lacroix trying to make amends, has forced Wisser to go out wide, and he's actually had to send it all the way back to almost halfway for Brentford, who will start again. But I think Brentford's game plan is to sit in, but they just look a little bit sluggish when they've got the ball as well.
Yeah, and Visser's he's been really deep. He's not been able to get himself on the back line and trouble anyone in behind. He's had to come deep, and he's working to try and receive the ball or win the ball back.
So here go Brentford again with Damsgaard on the left flank in towards Johan Wisser, and again it's an overhit pass. There's been quite a few careless balls. Eza with a dummy that doesn't come off in midfield, and Sharda's got it back for Brentford. That was risky from the England man. It's Roslev now with a chance to get the cross in, which he does. Sharda stretching for it. His touch is poor, and Henderson out to gather, but that's a let off for Ibera Eza.
Yeah, it is. He's just tried to dummy it to let it go to Mitchell, but he's in the middle of the pitch in the Crystal Palace half. You can't give the ball away there, and it's only for a miscontrol from Damsgaard that he could have had a shot at goal.
Mitchell in the left wing-back area for Palace has found Mateta. The misjudge of the bounce by Van den Berg, but he's relieved. Vitaly Janelt read it correctly, and he can send it home to Flecken.
Yeah, really good covering from defending there, because that ball looked like it was going up the line to Mateta, but he's got the wrong side of him, and it's just gone inside, and he was nearly free.
Norgard on halfway for Brentford. Bit of a scratchy opening 20 minutes here at Selhurst Park. Still waiting for the opening goal. Eze was being nibbled at by Mads Roerslev, and eventually the free kick is awarded by Tony Harrington to Crystal Palace on halfway. Taken quickly. Eze has it at his feet now, but that's an awful pass from him. Not sure who he was aiming for, because the ball was nowhere near anyone in red and blue, and Schade has now skipped away from Will Hughes and plays it through the middle, aiming for Johan Wissa. Lacroix readjusted really well to make the interception. Now Palace have it back with Eze, and the home fans urge them on to get the ball forwards quicker. Can't tell if they're geeing them up or if they're a bit frustrated.
No, see, Eze, he's been sloppy the last couple of balls he's had, and now the crowd are all on his back because he wanted to go forward, and he's stopped, and he's even put his arms out to say, like, calm down to the crowd. But in my experience from that, he should be going forward there. They're on the counter, and he's open, and he's got time, and he can get into the Brentford half, and he's not got no pressure on him.
Richards, part of the Palace back three, has gone back to Dean Henderson. Be forced into action by Brentford today. Dean Henderson, Gay into Mitchell. Left side of the pitch for Palace. Brentford apply the squeeze, and it's done the job. Palace have coughed up possession. Now it's looped forwards to Damsgaard, who might have had a high boot up against Maxence Lacroix, but Lacroix has dealt with it pretty seamlessly anyway. Norgard on the right side for Brentford, and Collins is ball to Wissa, edge of the area. Johan Wissa, turn and hit. Great save, Henderson. Got down really well there, the Palace keeper. Hasn't had anything to do so far, but that was a really good try by Johan Wissa, and an excellent stop from Dean Henderson.
Great stop from Dean Henderson. He's gone through his legs as well. I think it's Richards. Wissa's had a great first touch of his left foot. He's put it onto his right foot, and he's hit it right in between Richards' legs. He's going into that far corner. Henderson outstretched, really good hand, gives it for a corner.
Well, Palace almost their own worst enemies there, giving the ball away in a very dangerous area, and they almost paid the price as Tony Harrington comes across. This is one of the strange intricacies of football, checking that the ball is in the quadrant as Mikael Damsgaard then rolls it back about a quarter of an inch, and everything is well with the world once again. So Damsgaard now will be able to send this in, and Henderson's come and got a good fist on that to send it away. Roerslev underneath it, and he's swung it back in handily. Schade back across, but too close to Henderson. The ball bounces and the keeper gathers, and again the Palace fans are urging Dean Henderson to distribute the ball quickly. He's taken his time, and Brentford are now back in their shape.
I know, but I think he was wanting to. That's why I think the crowd you could make them their voices heard, because the Crystal Palace players were just a bit sluggish, and they keep giving the ball away in their own half. Very sloppy.
Has almost lost out to Kevin Schade. Here's Ismaila Sarr, and again it's a heavy touch. Palace felt Sarr was fouled, referee didn't, so Brentford come forwards. Crossing opportunity for Roerslev, into Brian Mbumo instead. On this left hand side as Palace tried to defend it, and it's worked across to Collins, and now it's popped onto the left flank from a Brentford point of view. Lewis Potter into the feet of Janelt. That was nice. Lewis Potter's continued his run. Wissa tried to find him. The ball just bounced up, and Palace got the rub of the green there, which allowed Munoz to hack it away to safety.
Yeah, it's all reversed now. It's Brentford that are getting into them pockets of space. Lewis Potter on that left hand side made a really good run with Wissa. Just couldn't quite get that ball through. I think it was Richards' legs he was trying to place it, but now it's Brentford that are happy to keep the ball. Crystal Palace are trying to do their pressing like we've mentioned before, but they're just not quite there at the moment. They've started well, but now they're really struggling.
And here's Roerslev skipping his way through. Lacroix says that he got the ball. He didn't. Referee's given a free kick, and it's a yellow card for Maxence Lacroix as well.
No, he's pleading his innocence, but he's right in front of us, and it looked to me like a yellow card. He's just got there before him. Yes, he's made the most of it. It was a lovely little flick by him. He's just put his toe out and he's jumped over the top. Yeah, he has caught him. It's right on the edge of the box. It's actually a really good area now to have a shot at goal from this set piece.
So Maxence Lacroix, the first player in the book this afternoon. He was adamant that he got the ball, but Tony Harrington has begged to differ. So, as Matt was saying, a free kick for Brentford in a useful area. It is right of centre as they look at it, around about 5 yards outside the Palace area, so it would suit a left footer, and Brian Mbeumo is stood over it and consulting Mikkel Damsgaard as well. But you would fancy this is opportunity for Mbeumo to have a shy at goal.
Yeah, but he's not had a chance really to be involved in the game at all yet, so he must be thinking this is his opportunity.
So Brian Mbeumo and Mikkel Damsgaard are over it. Who is going to strike it? Looks like it's going to be Mbeumo. It's over the wall and it's curling just wide of the post. Well, Henderson was concerned because he flung himself at it, but it just bent the wrong side of the upright for Brentford.
It's narrowly wide, but as you mentioned, Henderson, he was running across his goal. He's desperately trying to stop it because it was narrowly wide. So a good effort, but didn't hit the target.
Sounds like the rain has started to sheet down again here at Selhurst Park. We can hear it rattling the roof of the main stand above us. And yeah, you can see it now on the pitch as well, as Mateta chases a ball through the middle and sent behind by Keane Lewis Potter for a Crystal Palace corner. He was on the run, he was trying to make sure Mateta didn't get there, and he absolutely smacked it back towards his own keeper, who couldn't prevent it going behind for a corner.
No, I think that's a couple of times that this has happened. I think there's winds taking a lot of the ball there, because it was one big punt from Henderson and everyone's misjudged it. So I think the weather is coming into play here.
Palace with a corner, 0-0. They probably started the brighter of the two sides, but Brentford have been getting a grip on proceedings in recent minutes as Hughes whips in this corner towards the near post. They've made a meal of getting it away. Johan Wissa slaps it clear, not very far. Eza has it just outside the area. He's looking for an option for a pass and now goes for a deep cross, too deep for anyone, and behind for a goal kick. Yeah,
he had the opportunity to give it back to Will Hughes on his favoured left foot to whip a ball in, but he took his time. He's cut back onto his left and he's casually put it into the far post, but it's just gone past the post where the Crystal Palace players were more towards the front post.
Oliver Glasner is the manager who's furthest advanced in terms of being closest to the pitch, and he's just trying to get some instructions out to his players. What do you think that he wants to see from them that's a bit different? Because he would have been happy with the start of the game, but what have Brentford done that has changed the momentum? Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of been sloppy passes in the middle of the pitch. I mean, Eza's had a couple that he's given the ball away, then the crowd start reacting, and then it's been a bit pinball-y, but Brentford have been able to get the ball down and start getting their players in positions where they want them. Lewis Potter's been the one on the left-hand side that's been able to go up and back, and he's been able to link with Visser at the top. So I think he's got to get back to the pressing. He's got to get Sarr and Eza have got to be the ones that are getting on the ball and keeping hold of it, because they've given the ball away a few times, and it's Lerma and Hughes that have got to be able to dominate that central field. Approaching the half-hour mark in South London. Palace 0, Brentford 0. Mateta has, he thought he'd won the ball fair and square, and the fans did as well. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to see the replay here, because I thought he was just stronger there. He's got away from him because he's done really well. He's so good at that, using his body, but I'd have to see the replay. No, for me that's not a foul. He's grabbing his face, his arms round him, they're both holding each other, but I don't see that as a foul for myself. Mateta shakes hands with Van den Berg, who was the player he was deemed to have fouled by Tony Harrington. Palace, of course, have had some beef with officials in this fixture. In the opening weekend, when Iberra Eze's free kick that was perfectly legal was whistled beforehand, and the goal didn't count by Sam Barrett. Here is Jefferson Lerma for Palace, into the path of Daniel Munoz, running through the middle, trying to flick it forwards from Mateta. Too much on it from him though, and Brentford can clear for a throw. Yeah, good play by Crystal Palace there. Munoz he had a really good first touch. He just flicked it around the corner to Mateta, but just a bit too far ahead of him. But they've again pressed, and now they've got themselves a throw-in right in the corner, next to the corner flag here. And the Palace fans start singing boom, boom, boom. Mateta's in the room, and he responds by trying to get more volume out of them. Palace have a throw, level with the Brentford 6-yard box, and it's going to be a long one from Lerma towards the edge of that area. It's flicked on, Lacroix's up there, and so's Eza, still not away. And eventually there's a foul in there which has gone Brentford's way, and they have a free kick.
Yeah, ball's bobbling in around the box, everyone's trying to get a shot away, but really well defended by Brentford. I think it's Collins who in the end gets a free kick for his team, but good defending.
Well, Palace 0, Brentford 0, half an hour played here, and likewise at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and that is also 0-0. There's commentary of that one on 5 Live, and they'll also have Villa against West Ham from 4:30 as well for you. 6:06 comes after that as well. Lerma's won it really well out of Mbumo just inside Brentford territory, but the ball has spun off the Colombian and gone out for a throw to the Bees.
Yes, a couple of times now the ball's been played into Mbumo, and he's had a heavy first touch, and he's just trying to complain to the referee, but there wasn't a foul there. He's not been able to affect this game as yet. He's not been influential, he's not been in the right areas for his team to get that attacking threat that he's so good at.
Damsgaard with a loose clearance out from the back, Lacroix able to capitalise, but then doesn't make the most of being given possession because he's just floated it straight into the arms of Flecken, who's quickly got it out to Lewis Potter, who's quickly over halfway. Good surging run this from Keane Lewis Potter, still going until Richard steps in. Fair challenge. Brentford felt it was a foul. Palace come forwards. Mateta wasn't aware of where the ball was. He's still got it anyway. The run comes on the left from Tyrick Mitchell. Mitchell by the corner of the area, low ball in, Eza, edge of the box, goes for goal. Easy for Flecken to make the save.
Oh, it's again excellent play. Will Hughes in the middle of the pitch plays it into Mateta, who actually doesn't see it, but he's so strong he's able to get it, pass it out to the left hand side of Mitchell, who cuts it back to the edge of the box. Eza has a really good touch, gets it out of his feet into his right foot, and he probably should do better from there. He's made the keeper make a save, but he's probably in an area for his standards you think he's got to do a little bit better.
Flecken has it inside his own area, ball at his feet at the moment. Now Thomas Frank has joined Ollie Glasner by the side of the pitch in trying to get some words of instruction out to his players. 0-0 at Selhurst Park. It's not really got going as of yet, although we have at least had a few chances. Henderson with one excellent save to keep out Johan Wissa, and Eza with an opportunity he perhaps should have asked more out of Mark Flecken from. Ball is in Brentford possession with Lewis Potter. Useful ball over the top, and Henderson's come out of his area and has headed clear very well. Will Hughes has actually got the ball as well, so he'll stop it going out for a throw. Lacroix will send it back to Henderson. Not ideal for him, but he's rolled it across to Tyrick Mitchell, who has popped it forwards to Maxence Lacroix. Lacroix rolled away by Christian Norgard, and Norgard takes it back into his own half. Lacroix chasing him all the way, and Brentford go all the way back to their keeper Mark Flecken. Flecken's pass is short in towards Norgard, just by the edge of his area. Vandenberg can bring it further forwards for Brentford. 0-0 at Palace, with Brentford on the ball at the moment. Matt Jarvis.
Yeah, really good defending from Brentford. Crystal Palace trying to press, especially Fleck in goal. They're trying to press him, but he's very comfortable when he's passing it on along the ground into the middle, and Norgard keeps picking it up and going out the other side. So very composed defending.
It's the way these days, isn't it? Goalkeepers selected almost as much for their ability with the ball at their feet as they are for what they can do with it when keeping it out with their hands. Here is Hughes, slip forward for Eza. Poor first touch from him. Will Hughes has rescued the situation and worked it wide to Tyrick Mitchell. Hughes again, closed down by two Brentford players, so Tyrick Mitchell will collect possession on the left side. Now it's Mark Gay, closed down by Mbumo, gets the cross in, which is too high for anyone in red and blue, and safely in the hands of Flecken.
Yeah, but again, good pressure. That's he's actually put a really good ball in there. There just wasn't the runners.
Maxence Lacroix has had to deal with a tricky ball through the middle, which he has done just about. Has he been able to keep it in? He has too, but he's given it away. Richards goes to meet Lewis Potter. It comes off the American last to go out for a Brentford throw midway inside the Palace half. Palace 0, Brentford 0.
It seems Lewis Potter and Richards keep coming up against each other on that, Crystal Palace right hand side. It's a good battle between the two of them.
Yeah, battles all over the pitch. It's been a battling type of game so far, with just over 10 minutes to go until the interval, and the sides still locked together at 0-0. Mitchell's got to be careful in the left back area because Mbumo nearly took it off him, and then Roerslev did dispossess Gay. Lacroix just slaps it away, but then it's a poor clearance by Collins, given away to Ismaila Sarr. Sarr running and offloading for Iberra Eza. Great challenge by Collins. Timed that absolutely perfectly as Eza tried to get the shot away from the edge of the 6-yard box. Palace have got it back with Will Hughes, who's gone over. That's a Palace free kick, but that was another chance that came and went.
What a fantastic challenge there from Collins. Sarr's done really well driving through the middle, and he's waited and waited for that ball for Eze, and he's just left it so he could run onto it with his right foot on this left hand side to bend it into the far corner, but Colin comes sliding out, and Eze just tries to flick it over him, but wasn't able to do it. Really, really good defending.
Still waiting for the breakthrough here, but Richarlison has given Tottenham Hotspur the lead at home to Leicester City. 10 minutes to go until half-time here and at Spurs, and Spurs now lead Leicester by a 1-0. Palace with a free kick now for the foul on Will Hughes that Iberra Eza is likely to deliver. Arm in the air, and now he does swing it towards the far stick, and it's headed back across and behind by Jefferson Lerma.
Yeah, it's a good ball. I think these conditions are playing a huge part. You know, that one it wasn't whipped in, it was hung up to the far post, and this wind and this rain is taking its toll, but it's another opportunity to get a strike on goal, and Lerma's header just went past the post.
Flecken almost lost it to Mateta as he was playing it out from the back, but he's worked it wide to Mads Roerslev. Norgard with an early ball down the right channel, and Mbumo's got the wrong side of Tyrick Mitchell, and Mbumo closed down by Mitchell, and Palace have got bodies back now. Damsgaard tried to slip it in towards Norgard, and Lacroix read it and finds Mateta, who can't keep hold of the ball. Brentford have it with Vandenberg wide to Lewis Potter again, advancing over halfway and now checking back and finding Vitali Janelt in centre field. Short pass to Damsgaard, back to Janelt, and back on halfway with Vandenberg. Mateta goes to make the press, and Collins has just skipped away for Iberra Eza and then brought it forwards nicely in towards Damsgaard. Rolled out to Brian Mbumo, right wing as Brentford look at things. And Mbumo with the early cross cut out by Mark Gay. Norgard gets to the loose ball first and sends it back to Mads Roerslev. Roerslev to Vandenberg inside the centre circle for Brentford. Still looking for the opening goal with 8 minutes to go until half-time in South London. Roerslev down that right side once again for Brentford, and Mbumo closed by Mitchell, so it's back with Roerslev, and this time it's one of the Brentford players that's asking for someone to give him an option. Yeah,
they've started to compose themselves, Brentford. They're winning the second balls. I think Norgard's picked up so much. He's sort of trying to shield that defence as well, and he's always on the ball, he's always free and available, and he keeps the team ticking along. But Fleck's so confident he's got his foot on the ball, he's happy to have it under pressure, and that's their style of play.
Damsgaard collects on the half turn and rolls it forwards for Mbumo. Good pass, early cross from him. Lacroix got a touch on it, vital touch as well. Sharda was arriving. Lerma tried to be a bit too clever outside his own area, and Brentford have got it back. And Mbumo for Wissa, who drags it wide of the post. And again though, Palace asking for trouble.
Yeah, they keep giving the ball away. It's all trying to do nice little flicks around the corner, and it just doesn't work. There was no need for them to play in there. They could have just got the ball up a bit higher out the half, because they are under a bit of pressure at the moment, so you've got to be a bit more composed.
So 0-0 here, 1-0 to Spurs against Leicester, and at 4:30 full commentary on 5 Live of Villa West Ham. Dean Henderson takes the goal kick in a more traditional way, just launches it well over halfway, but nobody in red and blue can get on the end of it, and Wissa can help it over the top for Kevin Sharda on the left flank. Richards across to deal with him, and Munoz helps out his teammate and pops it out for a throw to Brentford. Taken short to Mikkel Damsgaard. He got out of a tight spot ever so well, and has got away on the left now. Damsgaard's ball in, cut back for Johan Wissa. Jefferson Lerma was watchful and took it off Wissa's toes to send it behind for a corner.
Wow, brilliant, real lively Damsgaard there. He's great feet to dink in about 2 or 3 Crystal Palace players and put a ball into Wissa, who just couldn't get his way. But a really good play on that left hand side, very energetic from Damsgaard.
6 minutes until half-time, and Damsgaard will take the corner conceded by Jefferson Lerma. As "Come on you bees" is heard from the left corner of the ground as we look at things. Brentford supporters occupying the end third of the Arthur Waite stand on the opposite side. Corner comes in and up goes Vandenberg, and well, I think it came off his shoulder last as it rebounds for a goal kick to Palace.
Yeah, you can see Damsgaard, he keeps, every time he puts the corner, he's looking down at the turf, because it's quite tight down there. You've got two-step run up, and with these conditions as well, that one wasn't quite in the right area, it was behind him, and that's why Vandenberg's shouldered it out of play.
5 minutes to go until half-time. Both managers will be thinking about what words of wisdom they'll impart, and maybe what changes they might make as well, because I think they'll have cause for complaints about their respective performances. No cause for complaints about the ball over the top for Brian Mbeumo here. Mitchell across to try and shut him off, and Mbeumo takes him on and gets the wrong side of him. Gay's trying to jockey it behind for a goal kick and has managed to do so. Thought that was a bit risky to start off with, but Mark Gay got it right.
Yeah, well, he's very strong. You know, he had a good few yards there to wait for the ball to go out of play, but he's defended it really well. It's the first time, well, I'd say like the last couple of minutes, Mbeumo's been able to actually run in behind a couple. They've looked early and he's got him behind Mitchell, but he still hasn't been able to affect it. He's got himself there, but not got anything for his team.
0-0 between Palace and Brentford. Palace unbeaten in their last 6 league games against Brentford at Selhurst Park. 3 wins, 3 draws. 1957 the last time that Brentford won in the league here, as Damsgaard has it back to goal just outside his own area, and he's lost it to Will Hughes. Hughes in a crossing position on the left side, goes down the line to Mateta, but he overhit the pass, and that's been a recurrent theme really for Palace. Good areas, not good passes.
Yeah, but the pressure from Will Hughes there is so good. He's using his energy to get up the pitch, and he's winning things back, and he makes this team tick as well with the ball. He's the one that's sliding them balls into Eze, into Sarr.
He certainly wasn't seen as first choice central midfield man for a while, but Oliver Glasner took an immediate shine to him, and he is certainly now the player that will always get a start in that slot. And others such as Czech Decore and Jefferson Lerma and Daichi Kamada come and go, but Will Hughes is always in there. And there's been a coming together inside the area here, which Tony Harrington wants to try and sort out. Mark Gay going to ground, and he's insistent that he was being fouled. Getting another look at it here, Matt.
I think it's a bit soft. I don't think it's not a penalty. I think the referee's clever there and just have a word with them. You can see it's going on.
So it'll be a long throw from Lerma, flicked across towards the penalty spot area, and Mbeumo's there. His header's picked up by Jefferson Lerma, whose ball forward finds Will Hughes. Now it's Ismaila Sarr, who's fisted across goal, and Gay arriving at the far stick couldn't get the touch to it. Well, it was a dangerous ball in from Sarr, and the Palace captain did his level best to get on the end of it, but just couldn't arrive in time.
No, beautiful ball on the right side. It's the only place, it's where you want the ball to be. He's whipped it with his right foot across goal. It's behind the defenders, in front of the goalkeeper, and you're just hoping for someone to come flying in at the end of it and put it in the back of the net. Really good ball by Sarr, but yeah, he just could not get there.
2 minutes to go until half-time. Brentford thought about going short with the goal kick, but decide against it, and Flecken is going to smack this long upfield as the fourth official, Tim Robinson, goes to collect his board and get ready to show us how much additional time we're going to have at the end of what's been a pretty attritional first half. Mateta was putting pressure on the Brentford back line, but they've cleared it up towards halfway. Lerma gets his head to it. Sarr and Eze both waited for each other really, and that's allowed Roerslev to step in, and Vitaly Janelt now sends a long curling pass forwards up towards Schade. Lacroix is there for Palace. Hughes, who hasn't really put a foot wrong, has put a poor pass in there, which Norgard has collected for Brentford, and Mbeumo wriggling away from a couple of challenges. Damsgaard has it now, and Mbeumo might be in business here. His effort from the angle blocked off by Lacroix, and it's going to spin out for a throw.
That was a bit like pinball though, really, that no one really had it under control. It kept on flicking up, hitting someone else, and in the end it's just just trying to get a shot away on his right foot, and but he's come out for a throw in here. Brentford are just starting to, I think the first 15 minutes they were under a lot of pressure, and they've just started to be able to control the game a little bit and get themselves involved and progress up the pitch. It's just that final end product that they've really struggled with in this half.
Last minutes of the first half. Sharda's throw is flicked away by Jefferson Lerma for another Brentford throw. 30 seconds of regulation time left in the first half. Sharda takes the throw in towards Damsgaard, gives it back to Kevin Sharda, looking for the angle to get the cross in, which he does now. Useful looking ball, in fact it's too long for anyone in a Brentford shirt. Whistler scampers after it to keep it moving for Brentford. Lewis Potter fizzes in, and it's helped across towards Sharda, who's managed to work it into the penalty area. Dean Henderson gathers, and this time gets a quick throw out to Daniel Munoz, but Munoz has no obvious forward pass on, so has to send it back to his goalkeeper, and there is no additional time at the end of the first half. So it is Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 0 at the break. Matt Jarvis.
Well, if you start the game, you're looking at the Crystal Palace started so well. We mentioned about their pressure and their energy, and they were right at it. They were closing people down, winning second balls. Will Hughes and Lerma in the middle of the park were instrumental in the way that they played, and it was them pockets of space that Sarr and Eza were getting into, and they were just doing nice little flicks around the corner. Mateta had a good early strike with his left foot that was saved by Fleck, but as the game went on, Brentford then came into the game. Crystal Palace became a bit sloppy, losing possession in areas of the pitch, Eza and Sarr, and then Brentford just started to get progressively up the pitch. Lewis Potter was there on the left hand side. He was the one that was involved quite a lot. He was making runs in behind, he was coming inside. Him and Richards were having a battle up against each other, but there was no real end product for Brentford. They had a couple of corners and these long throws, but no real sight of goal. So in the end I think it's a fair 0-0 at the end of this first half.
So at the break here at Selhurst Park, it is Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 0. We will be back for the second half, but for now we will join Five Live for the latter stages of the first half of Spurs-Leicester and all of the rest of the day's sports news.
The referee, yeah, he's blocked off Samari.
Well spotted.
He didn't actually make a play on the ball. It didn't hit him, but he felt it was enough for him. He's not booked himself, which I think he should have done.
Fans would love that, actually, Rob, if he did that, if he showed the humour to do that. Drop ball, thumped forward by Stolarczyk, who's saying, why are you wasting my time there, ref? I've come up to clear that downfield. I'm now going to go all the way back to my goal, pick up my bits and pieces, and then head back to the tunnel. Tottenham leading Leicester by 1-0. In terms of the relegation battle, that only deepens Leicester's woes. Tottenham 8 points clear of the bottom three at the start of the game. Neither team, Rob, here have been brilliant. Stolarczyk made the one fabulous save from Son, and as we said, the Porro cross perfect for the Richarlison header.
Yeah, it was a fantastic goal, and it was the one real moment of quality, but Spurs started slowly and sloppy, and you're thinking, well, they're in Germany on Thursday night, you can't excuse them, the rustiness. Leicester, that was the best moment. That was their moment, the first 10 minutes of the game. Go score. They're such short confidence. They haven't really shown it in front of goal. They look like a team who haven't scored in a while.
Yeah, they haven't. They are heading for an 8th consecutive league defeat under Ruud van Nistelrooy. At half-time, it's the home team who lead. Tottenham 1, Leicester 0.
Thank you very much, both. Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 0, the other half-time score in the Premier League. Remember, you'll be able to listen to second half commentary of that on 5 Sports Extra. Aston Villa versus West Ham in full here on 5 Live Premier League Sunday at 4:30. So we'll make our first trip to Villa Park shortly. We'll get reaction to Chelsea 1, Arsenal 0. Full-time score in the Women's Super League. Palace 0, Tottenham 2 is a half-time score. We'll also look ahead to Sale versus Bath in the Gallagher Premiership and get reaction to Yannick Sinner's victory in the final of the Australian Open tennis. We'll do all of that after the news with Richard Foster.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Steve. Good afternoon. The Conservatives have accused Labour of driving down economic growth. The party leader, Kemi Badenoch, says they're in power without a plan. And the former Conservative Chancellor, Nadhim Zahawi, says employment laws should be more flexible to boost growth.
Europe has stagnated, America has grown. Why? Flexible labour market, right? I bought a business in Palo Alto 20 years ago for YouGov, and we became a unicorn because actually having a flexible labour market where you can right-size a business is a nightmare in the UK. Legislation around employment has to be thought through very carefully before it begins to damage growth.
All this follows comments from the Chancellor Rachel Reeves. She's hinted she'll support a third runway at Heathrow Airport and has promised to go further and faster to improve the economy. Rachel Reeves also says it's unacceptable that the man who stabbed 3 girls to death in Southport was able to easily access extreme material on social media. The government's urged tech firms to remove extreme content. A teenager whose car was hit by a falling tree during Storm Eowyn has died of his injuries. The accident happened as the 19-year-old was driving in East Ayrshire early on Friday morning. President Trump thinks that Egypt and Jordan should house Palestinians from Gaza while the Strip is cleaned out. He says the war there has left the area like a demolition site. Gershon Baskin from the International Communities Organization says the president's claims are destabilizing.
This is a very dangerous statement for Trump to be making, and even uttering the statement itself can shake the regimes in Egypt and Jordan, because at the root of this is the Palestinian issue, and what many Arabs interpret Trump's statement as being is ethnic cleansing of the Gaza Strip.
A man's been charged with the murder of a university lecturer in Plymouth. Paul Butler will appear in court in the city tomorrow. Claire Chick, who was 48, died in hospital early on Thursday after the police found her seriously injured. And the southwest of England has seen winds of 80 miles an hour as Storm Hermine passes over the UK. Various yellow weather warnings for wind and rain are currently in place across Northern Ireland and Wales and much of England.
Here we are on BBC iPlayer.
Welcome back to the round table.
I'm about to kiss a girl that I have never met.
Drag's the best, isn't it? These aren't reality shows.
What is going on?
They're fuel for the group chat.
Wow. And I'm there for it.
I love the drama. We all relate in some way or another.
RuPaul's Drag Race UK, The Traitors, I Kissed the Girl, and loads more.
Take it all in.
Whoever you are, wherever you stream, BBC iPlayer.
This is 5 Live Sports
with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
So it's Spurs 1, Leicester 0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Second half commentary to come here on 5 Live, and Palace 0, Brentford 0. You'll be able to get that on 5 Sports Extra when it gets back underway. In Rugby Union's Premiership, leaders Bath are away to Sale Sharks. Adam Whitty is watching.
This is a game that could have significant implications for the playoff race, Steve. And Sale fans in particular will feel that England call-ups could skewer a chance to jump from 7th to 3rd. The Sharks unbeaten at home in over a year, but have 7 players, including their entire first-choice front row, away at Steve Borthwick's pre-Six Nations camp, the most of any Premiership team, missing the likes of the Curry brothers and Luke Cowan-Dickey. Bath, meanwhile, despite being top of the tree and set fair for a semi-final, have got just 4 England players missing and keep their star 10, Finn Russell. Some might say that's unfair. They could go 14 points clear of 5th with 14 points clear of 5th with a 4th win on the bounce against the Sharks, and if results go their way, if Bristol get nothing from their home game at Newcastle, they could be 11 points clear by the end of the day.
That one underway at 3 o'clock, as is the other game in the Premiership today, which is Bristol Bears against Newcastle Falcons. Tennis, world number 1 Yannick Sinner's won the Australian Open for the 2nd year running. It was a straight sets victory over Alexander Zverev. Correspondent Russell Fuller, Grand Slam winner Pat Cash and Gigi Salmon watched the action unfold at the Rod Laver Arena.
It is quite incredible, Pat, isn't it? He's just 23 years of age and he's already achieved so much.
It's not so much what he's achieved; it's just how good he is.
Yeah.
And we're very fortunate enough to have 2 very complete players in Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner, almost come from nowhere in the last few years to be just such complete players. And tonight's match wasn't the greatest match of all time. I don't think either player really hit their straps, certainly not Zverev. So, that just shows how far ahead he is of the number 2 player in the world is Zverev, who, to be honest, just had a bit of a shocking day.
And Russell, not to put a downer on it, but it's equally incredible what he's achieving with everything that he still has going on off the court.
Yes, he seems unaffected by what's been happening over the last 9 to 10 months with his positive test in March of last year for a banned substance. He was found guilty of that or admitted the charge, but an independent tribunal decided that he would not serve any time away from the tour because they accepted his explanation of how the drug got into his system and decided there was no fault or negligence attached to him. Very briefly, what happened is that it was a spray for a finger cut that his physio had, which contained this bad substance. He put it on his finger, he gave Sinner a massage without using gloves, and it got into Sinner's system. The sting in the tail for him is that the World Anti-Doping Agency have challenged that decision by an independent tribunal, and they said, look, we're not questioning the argument and the explanation, but we think there is some negligence on his part, and on April the 16th and April the 17th, the Court of Arbitration for Sport will decide whether they agree with the World Anti-Doping Agency, who are asking for a ban of between 12 and 24 months. And even if we were banned for 6 months, and that was announced in early May, it would rule him out of the French Open, Wimbledon, the US Open, and in fact the rest of the season.
So important for him with this win. He's nearly 4,000 points clear, Pat, of Sasha Zverev in second place. And it was quite disheartening listening to Sasha Zverev after he lost the final saying, I'm just not good enough.
I think unfortunately it's been shown to be the case. He's obviously extremely disappointed with that performance. His other two performances in Grand Slam finals were 5 sets. There were some reasons why he didn't quite get over the line, but this one was just a poor performance, and that really chews you up. And I've lost 2 finals here. I've lived the rest of my life knowing that, I played really well. I played pretty well, but I lost. I can hold my head up. That is some consolation for me. But if I was saying, I just played an absolute shocker and I don't know what went wrong, that's disheartening. It's confusing. The team will be, not sure where to go.
Jannik Sinner leaves Australia and Melbourne on a 21-match winning streak, knowing that he's won 37 of his last 38 matches, and he's already got his first title of 2025.
Gigi Salmon, Pat Cash and Russell Fuller with their thoughts on Jannik Sinner's win over Alexander Zverev in the final of the Australian Open. And add on to that, which is quite long, but it's really important to explain all of the details. So Zverev's runners-up speech was interrupted by a heckler on Rod Laver Arena. As he stepped up to speak, someone in the crowd shouted, "Australia believes Olya and Brenda," which is a reference to 2 allegations of domestic abuse that were levied against him regarding 2 of his former partners, Olya Sharapova and Brenda Petea. Sharapova accused him of emotional abuse and violence in 2020. It didn't go to court. The allegations were denied by Zverev. Allegations by Brenda Petea ended with Zverev facing a public trial in Berlin last year. The court didn't deliver a verdict. As Petea expressed her wish to end the trial, the court told the BBC there had been a settlement between the two, and again, Zverev denied the accusation. He has since responded to the incident in his press conference, saying, "I believe there are no more accusations. There haven't been for 9 months now." Good for her, as in the heckler. I think she was the only one in the stadium who believed anything in that moment. I think I've done everything I can. I'm not about to open that subject again. That's Alexander Zverev responding to the heckling. In the WSL, Chelsea extended their lead at the top of the table with a 1-0 victory over Arsenal. Captain Millie Bright was player of the match.
It was intense. I think it was everything that you expect from a derby, especially I think 2 teams that are very much in form in the season so far. But I think from our point of view, happy to get the win, happy to get a clean sheet, but we want more. From a performance perspective, we still want better from ourselves. But I think first and foremost, you want the 3 points and then you build from there. So it was tough. Took a lot to break them down, but just needed to be a little bit more ruthless in their box.
For now at least, you're 9 points clear at the top of the table. Is there any stopping this Chelsea side?
Listen, we just focus on ourselves. I think that's one thing we said from the start. We don't want to be looking at other results and relying on other teams to drop points. We focus on ourselves, and I think we've put ourselves in a great position to just keep focusing on us, keep climbing at the top and extending our lead. And we've done that again today, and we just want that monster mentality from the start to the finish.
It's a big day for the club all round, not just a huge win and possibly your biggest game of the season, but you've now got a new teammate, possibly the world's worst kept secret. I'm sure it's not a surprise, but Naomi Girma is now a Chelsea player. How much are you looking forward to linking up with her?
Yeah, can't wait. She's an unbelievable person and a fantastic player, and I think we're really lucky to have her, and I think we're really grateful that she chose us. I think it also sends a statement to the rest of the league and Europe about the direction that we're going in and the titles that we want to win. So she's going to be a fantastic addition, and we can't wait to get started with her.
That's Chelsea's Millie Bright speaking to Joe Curry. The other score in the WSL is a half-time score. Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham 2. And in the Scottish Premiership, it's already finished today. Dundee United 1, Rangers 3. We'll be back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and Selhurst Park shortly for second half commentary. Then at 4:30, we'll be taking you to Villa Park. Aston Villa versus West Ham United with correspondent John Murray and Stephen Warnock. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Good, thank you. Big mentality questions, John, for the Aston Villa players today.
Yes, there's going to be a mentality question for me and Stephen as well, because the weather conditions here could be described as they do on the railway platforms up and down the country as inclement. It's blowing. The rain is blowing into our faces, and it's a real winter January afternoon. But on the mentality. As regards the people who are going to be on the pitch this afternoon, I think
the important people, yeah.
Exactly so. I'm pleased you've recognised that. Unai Emery, the Aston Villa manager, gets straight to the point in his column in the programme, and he says, first paragraph: "There's always a risk that someone can think that a Premier League match between two Champions League matches can be approached with less intensity or desire. Nothing can be further from our mentality." That to me tells me that he's concerned that this match falls between Monaco and Celtic for Villa.
Definitely. Stephen, do you think the conditions are going to have an impact as you sit there looking out at the pitch?
No, not necessarily. They train in it every day. They play in these conditions all the time. It's not too bad. It's just wet. It's just horrible. A little bit cold. I think the only thing is that you've just got to make sure that you've got the right footwear on. Simple.
So welcome back to Selhurst Park for second half commentary of Crystal Palace against Brentford. 0-0 at the interval between those two teams. And Matt Jarvis, the comment that I've heard a lot during half-time was things can only get better.
Well, I can imagine the players have had a full kit swap, because they look a lot fresher than they did when they came off at half-time, because the conditions here are awful. They really are. And as a substitute now, they've been warming up at half-time. They'll be sat back in the bench going, I'm not sure. You're going to have to get stripped off and get ready to come on to the game. They're going to be cold, it's wet, not the conditions.
Well, Brentford have got this second half underway, and there are no changes from either manager during the interval. So Palace look like this with Henderson in goal, Lacroix, Gay and Richards their back three, Hughes and Lerma sitting in midfield, Mitchell and Munoz the wing backs, and then Eze and Sarr either side of Mateta. Brentford have Lewis Potter, Collins, Vandenberg and Roerslev their defence in front of Fleck and Norgard and Janelt, the shielding players. Damsgaard playing in the pocket with Johan Wissa operating with Kevin Schade and Brian Mbumo either side of him. Matt Jarvis.
Yeah, Mateta's just won the team a throw in here, and he's straight away at the crowd, lifting his hands up, trying to get them singing, trying to get the energy from them, because they need something. They do need something. They started so well in the first half, but they really faded towards the end. It was very sloppy.
It's going to be Lerma with a long throw from that throw that was won by Mateta, and it's not been fully dealt with inside that 6-yard box, and it's over the top of the crossbar eventually. Well, Brentford allowed it to bounce, and it could have been costly.
Yeah, it's the long throw, and they just don't deal with the first contact. They let it bounce inside the box, and it's really scrappy. And I think is it Gay at the last minute just tried to get a flick over the top, but it was over the ball, over the top of the bar, but very scrappy inside the 6-yard box.
In that sense, Lacroix, I think, was trying to just knock it back from over his shoulder. Each of Brentford's last 3 Premier League games have been goalless at half-time, their longest such run since May of 2024. And it was very much 0-0 in the first half, so much so that I almost spat my tea out when I heard them on the PA announcement saying that they were going to have a look back at the half-time highlights. Not quite sure what they filled the time with. Anyway, Palace have the ball inside their own half. 0-0 here with Brentford as it's arced up towards Mateta, watched by Collins, who can nudge it to the right back area, which Mads Roerslev is occupying. Collins closed down by Mateta in a tight spot down by the corner flag, and the pressure has forced him to give away a throw-in.
He's enjoying doing that to the crowd though, Mateta. Every time he's got another throw-in down the other side, just because of his pressing, his arms, he's trying to get this energy, he's trying to use it, he's clapping his hands, he's trying to get this crowd involved.
Yeah, Mateta certainly a bit of a showman, I think it's fair to say, as there has been another goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and not the way you might expect it to have gone. It's Leicester who have got an equaliser, Jamie Vardy, 1-1 in that one. Live commentary on 5 Live as Palace fizzed in towards the penalty spot area, and it's cleared away, and Brian Mbeumo with a very intelligent flick in towards Kevin Schade. Wissa and Mbeumo both in support here. This is a real chance here for Brentford. Wissa by the D of the area, looking for the angle to have a pop at goal, and it's disappointing in the end. Straight down the throat of Dean Henderson, just when it looked like it was opening up on the counter for Brentford.
Yeah, really, really good opportunity. This right down the middle of it. It's Schade right down the middle of the pitch. He's waited, and it's Wissa he's on the left-hand side of the box. He's cutting back into his right foot, and in the end, he's just hit it straight down the middle to Henderson. But as you mentioned, look, the Crystal Palace players were sprinting back. There's about 5 or 6 that got back and just came back in enough time to take the pressure off.
Heaved up towards halfway, trying to spot if there's any noticeable difference in the way the teams have started this second half. Palace continuing where they left off in terms of playing some really poor passes and being a bit pedestrian in possession. The fans, I think, getting on their back a bit about that.
They're really wasteful in possession, and I think it's Eza the one that keeps putting his arms up or out to say, like, calm down to the crowd.
Eza had the ball inside the area, and again it was just a bit languid from him, which allowed a Brentford challenge to come in, and the ball is hacked up into the Palace half, and it's picked up by Mark Gay under no real pressure at all. He can send it back to his keeper, Dean Henderson. It remains 0-0 4 minutes into the second half.
Yeah, it's sluggish, and it's just one of them that you just think if he's just a bit sharper, as he's been wasteful in the last few moments, last time he's had the ball, and then he slows it down for his team. I think is an opportunity for him to come to life. He's got so much quality. He's instrumental in the way that Crystal Palace play, so you want him on the ball, but he's just slowing things down a bit.
Henderson has launched it into the Brentford half, but Janelt is in the right spot to clear, and Lerma with a really silly foul on halfway, just a shove on Norgard, and Brentford take the free kick quickly. It's with Mads Roerslev, 10 yards inside Palace territory, backwards of square to Christian Norgard. Norgard goes all the way back to Collins inside the Brentford half, and dearie me, that's a really wretched pass from Norgard. No pressure on him at all, and the skipper has sent it straight out for a Palace throw, and that pretty much sums up the game so far.
I was just about to say, that just sums up what it's been like. It's been really scrappy, sloppy in possession for both teams, and summed up with just kicking the ball out of play.
Richards, one of the Palace centre halves, gives it to Munoz, the right wing back here for Maxence Lacroix, who will send it all the way back to Dean Henderson. A shock scoreline coming in from Spurs. It's now Tottenham Hotspur 1, Leicester City 2. El Canouse with the Foxes second. They were 1-0 down at half-time. 6:06 coming up later, and I'm sure that there'll be plenty of calls about that game, however it pans out for Spurs and Ange Postecoglou. Here at Selhurst Park, we're desperate for some drama and talking points, because it has been as miserable as the weather, really, in terms of action on the pitch. As Munoz collects, and the Palace fans try to spur their team into life. Munoz again just pleads with his teammates for an easy pass forwards, and he can't make one, so Palace are all the way back outside their own area.
It's so disappointing, because there's so much quality on this pitch. It really is. Like, you know, I say that now, and both teams just, one's given the ball away and the other one's kicked it out for a goal kick. So it's been really poor. The standard has been so poor in this second half. But with the quality that's there, you've got to. Everyone's trying to have a word with each other. Say, look, if I come here, you've got to play the ball. Mateta's trying to Munoz is trying to talk to him. You know, it's just not clicking for both teams. But there is quality, and you're hoping that it just takes one or two little things to happen. That Will Hughes to get on the ball in the middle of the park, he's the one that they need. He's the enforcer, he dictates the play, and if you can get the ball to him and then everyone else feeds off him, that's the way that they need to do Crystal Palace. But on the other hand, Brentford, they've started poorly, considering they started poorly in the start of the first half. They worked their way back into it and finished stronger, but they've stepped up the gas again.
Well, it looks as though Brentford are going to make a change, and Matthias Jensen might be coming on for the visitors here.
The hat's coming off, the snud's coming off, big coat's coming off.
And with this stoppage in play, both of the managers using it as an impromptu team talk. Oliver Glasner has got 3 Palace players around him as Christian Norgard continues to receive treatment. It looked a pretty innocuous challenge on him.
Well, he's definitely coming off. He's taken the captain's armband off, and he's able to walk off. He's obviously done something. I think it was his right knee that they were assessing. So, as you mentioned, it was innocuous.
Well, just having a look at it again now, it was a nudge in the back from Jefferson Lerma. Hardly any contact on him. Just a nudge, and he's been holding his knee as a result of that, so must have just jarred it, and he knew immediately because he pointed across straight away, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a big player for Brentford. He was the one that was shadowing the centre halves. He was picking up the ball. He dictates play for Brentford as well. He can receive the ball under pressure from Fleck, who's quite comfortable with the ball as well, so he'll be a big miss.
So the first change of the game, and it is Matthias Jensen, who had started the last 6 Premier League meetings between Brentford and Crystal Palace, who will come on for Christian Norgard, who is immediately gingerly walking along the touchline and down towards the tunnel here at Selhurst Park. Palace get us back underway. Mateta, good strength to hold off Van den Berg. Did really well there. Referee played the advantage. Eza now on the half turn. Palace coming forwards. Lots of red and blue up there. Can he find a teammate? He can. Jefferson Lerma urged to have a goal, which he does, and Flecken judged that well. In these conditions, it could have been tricky. It was swirling, but he got his body fully behind it.
Yeah, he did really well, because it's one of them. It was just bouncing in front of him, and he's in, as you mentioned, the conditions. He's handled that really well. But Mateta, I just want to say how strong he is. He's holding off. There was about 3 or 4 chances there where the referee could have blown for a free kick for Mateta, but he carried on and holds the ball up and then lays it off to start the Crystal Palace attack. He's done extremely well there.
Flecken has the ball at his feet then for Brentford, waiting for a Palace player to maybe come and close him down. He just rolls the ball with his feet and now thinks about playing it and knocks it out to Lewis Potter. Strange passage of play that. Palace now goes to squeeze with Van den Berg in possession. Long booming ball forwards, which he's done well to find a teammate with. Damsgaard has lost out though. Eza gets away from him. Ibera Eza into the area. Vitaly Janelt hacked him down. It's going to be a free kick and a yellow card as well for Vitaly Janelt for stopping Ibera Eza in full flight.
Yeah, well there you go. That's what he can do. He gets the ball. He's strong. He gets past Damsgaard and then he drags the ball with his right foot down the line. Not quite in the box. He's just outside, but gets himself a free kick. He's in a good position now. He's up, he's holding the ball, he's placing it down, thinking, this is my opportunity now. He's won the free kick, he wants to take it.
And that has brought some noise from the home fans, especially in that Homestell Road end, which is behind the goal, occupied by Mark Flecken. And the Brentford goalkeeper now trying to sort out his wall as he gets ready for this free kick, which Ibera Eza has stood purposefully over. Arms on hips. Will Hughes is there as well, but surely this is going to be an Eza strike at goal. It's quite wide. It's on the left as Palace look at it, almost towards the corner of the box, a couple of yards outside of it. It is Eza who is poised. The whistle has gone, and Ibera Eza steps up, goes for it, deflected off the post. Munoz back in, and Munoz again, a wild cross from him. Well, that's the closest we've come to a goal. Ibera Eza's effort was deflected onto the upright.
Yeah, it's on this left-hand side. struck it to the near post and it's flicked off the wall and it's hit the post on the other side. Goalkeeper was stranded in the middle of the goal, but Munoz he's tried to smash the ball across for the rebound, which went straight off to the Brentford's chest, and then his wild left foot shot has gone out for a throw in the other side.
It's foul for Crystal Palace. They'll have the free kick. Will Hughes has been upended by Johan Wissa midway inside the Palace half. Well, it's been a bit better from the home side, but that's not saying a great deal as we edge towards the hour mark, and we're still waiting for the opening goal of the game. Mibera Eza, with the aid of a chunky deflection, almost giving us that, and he has this free kick which is a lot further out. It's about midway inside the Brentford half, so it won't be a shot at goal on this occasion. Palace have got a line of red and blue by the D of the area. Hughes dummies the ball, and now Tony Harrington, the referee, is again going to sort out just a bit of a scuffle that is occurring in the build-up to the set piece being delivered.
It has given the atmosphere a bit of a lift, though. You know, the crowd's making a lot more noise.
Will Hughes leaves the free kick for Eza, who works it into the area. Richards got a flick, but the header was tame and easy for Flecken, who is quick to dispatch it with his hands to Keneen Lewis Potter in the left-back area. Back for Vitali Janelt. Infield to Matthias Jensen, the substitute, on for the injured Brentford skipper Christian Norgard. Jensen works it to the right-hand side, and now Mads Røsler backwards of square to Jensen. Jensen takes a couple of steps forwards and rolls it into the feet of Mikkel Damsgaard. His flick out to the far side of Brian Mbumo's got the wrong side of Will Hughes and gets the cross in. Gay's header away only as far as Lewis Potter, who's gone for goal, and Dean Henderson had to get across to tip it behind for a corner kick.
Wow, what a save from Henderson. That is, he backpedaling, it's nestling right into the top corner. He's done so well to get there, because Lewis Potter is right on the angle of the box and he's whipped it. I don't even know if he's going for it. It looks more like a cross, but he's whipped it into that top corner, and Henderson backpedaling is the top arm, his right arm just pulls it away from that top corner.
Excellent save. Thomas Frank had his hands on his head there. He thought that might have been the opening goal of the game as we enter the 60th minute of the match at Selhurst Park. Brian Mbumo over the resulting corner after that save from Dean Henderson. Mbumo still waiting to take this in-swinger from the right as Brentford look at it. It's a congested area. Henderson got a punch to it. It's cleared away towards the edge of the area. Hughes is in there. Palace haven't managed to get it away. Eventually they scramble it clear, and they then squeeze Brentford all the way back to Flecken, who will send it booming upfield once again. A long up and under. Lacroix underneath it for Palace. Here is Mibera Eza now back to goal, and showing some fancy footwork and some lovely skills to control. Mitchell not quite managing to do the same as he kicks it with his standing foot, and it goes out of play for a throw.
That again, in that moment is this game summed up. Eze with some fantastic quality, keeping the ball, bringing it down from up in the air, flicking it over in Burma, and then he lays it to Mitchell. It hits his other foot trying to kick it up the line.
That's Matt Jarvis with us on 5 Sports Extra, where it's Palace 0, Brentford 0 with an hour played in South London. That's a good looking ball in for Brentford, which Richards is underneath well for Palace. Mitchell was a bit hesitant getting to the second ball. Jefferson Lerma trying to help it away. Palace have got the ball away, but they're appealing for handball in there. And now is there a penalty for Brentford? There is. Well, they were asking for a handball, and Tony Harrington has now awarded the Bees a spot kick. They appealed once, it was waved away. This time around, though, the decision has gone for Brentford, and they have a penalty kick.
Yeah, without seeing the replay from here, it did look like a penalty. It's Mitchell with his right foot. He's tried to clear it, and it's Collins that's just nicked it in front of. Who's it in front of?
Maxence Lacroix is the player who has tried to clear the ball with Collins going through, and he has clipped him. Collins has gone over, and Tony Harrington has immediately pointed to the spot. Maxence Lacroix with the rueful look of a guilty man, really, as the spot kick is awarded. And Dean Henderson gets set to take his mark and try to make the save as Brian Mbeumo steps up to take the penalty kick for Brentford. So they've checked it, cleared it, the decision stands, and it's a Brentford penalty kick which Brian Mbeumo gets set to try to dispatch.
He's not been involved in the game, Mbeumo, as well. He's had quite a few poor touches, so this could be a big moment for him.
Well, he scored in the opening day win over Crystal Palace, did Brian Mbeumo. He steps up from 12 yards here against Henderson. Oh, it's off the post, and Palace get away with it. Brian Mbeumo rattles the upright. He doesn't find the net. It's a Brentford corner rather than a Brentford goal.
It's a horrible penalty. I hate the run-up. It's that really slow. He does a big jump, so it's like a one-step penalty, and he hits it low with his left foot into the left-hand side, and it comes off the post and comes back, and Crystal Palace clear it. But I mentioned before, he's not quite been at it today. He's been so reliable for Brentford, but today he's not been there.
Hold on. There might be a retake here, because I think Mark Gay, who made the clearance, may have encroached into the area, and if he has done, because he made the clearance as it came back off the upright, there will be a retake.
Wow, they will be so lucky.
Well, we're just seeing the replays here. Mark Gay was the man who got back to clear it away. Was he inside the area when Mbeumo took?
Yeah,
I think he might have been. I think he was inside the D of the area. So I think this is going to be retaken, and Brian Mbeumo is going to get a chance to go again.
Wow, that is a real touch of luck. That, I bet he doesn't do the same run up next time if he gets this opportunity.
Well, they're still checking. Brian Mbeumo's penalty off the post. Did it then come off Dean Henderson before Gay got his boot to it? All eyes on Tony Harrington now. VAR seem to have checked it as many times as they want to. What is his decision here?
It's taken a long time now.
It's a retake. Brentford are going to get another go. Mark Gay encroached before he made the clearance, and VAR have spotted that and told Tony Harrington that the penalty needs to be retaken.
Wow. I suppose in the letter of the law, it's the correct decision, but really harsh on Crystal Palace.
So Brian Mbeumo went for the sort of staggered run-up, the little shuffle, before he sent that one onto the left-hand post. What will Brian Mbeumo do this time around? Here he goes, take two then. He hit the post, now the retake, and Mbeumo goes again, and this time Brian Mbeumo scores. Pops it the other side, beyond Dean Henderson and into the right corner of the goal, and it's Palace 0, Brentford 1.
Yeah, he's done the same run-up. He's waited a lot longer, and then he's put it into the other side of the goal. The Crystal Palace players are surrounding the referee, not happy at all.
Well, Dean Henderson's picked up a yellow card for his protests, and Tony Harrington's still in conversation with him at the moment. And I think he just needs to wind his neck in a bit here, Dean Henderson. He immediately was unhappy about he kicked the ball away, didn't he?
I think it's heading towards where the Brentford players were celebrating.
So that is why Dean Henderson has picked up a yellow card for booting the ball towards the celebrating Brentford players. The Palace fans booing, they're unhappy, but by the letter of the law it was encroachment by Mark Gay, and that is why he got another go at it.
Well, maybe this might energise Crystal Palace, that they needed something.
Starfelt, he was fouled just outside the area, and Tony Harrington now is being heckled relentlessly by the home supporters because they feel a real sense of injustice about not getting the free kick there, having seen a penalty awarded against their team.
Yeah, it's right on the edge of the box as well. From our angle, it didn't quite look like, it was just sort of a bit of a coming together, I think, from Lewis Potter on Sarr. So I think the referee's, he's made the correct decision there, but you could hear the Crystal Palace fans not happy at all.
Jefferson Lerma stepping into midfield. Here is Iberra Eza. Ball through the middle for Mateta to chase. Flecken comes out quickly, and Flecken gets it out of play for a throw to Palace.
Well, it's been a good response from Crystal Palace. They needed it. They needed something because they were very lethargic and in this second half. But they've got their energy back. They're trying to win all the second balls like they started to do in the first half. And the crowd's up for it.
Matthias Jensen gets it for Brentford, sends it back to Lewis Potter. Brentford leading by a goal to nil. Brian Mbeumo with a penalty, a retake after his first hit the post, and then encroachment by Mark Gay led to it being taken again. And Brentford now have a lead to protect. And I guess it's a reminder to always ensure that you are outside the area before the penalty is taken.
It was interesting to see where Gay was as well. He's in the middle. He wasn't along the sides. He was right in the middle,
but inside the D.
Yeah,
quite importantly, and that's why Mbeumo got the chance to go again. So Palace 0, Brentford 1. They've only lost one of their last 11 in the league. Palace, that was here against Arsenal. Are Brentford about to do the league double over them? Well, they've got themselves a corner. Kevin Schade has got away from Maxence Lacroix on the left-hand side, and it's rolled out for a Brentford corner. And of course, now that they have their noses in front, they'll be taking as much time as possible.
Yeah, but Schade, he's looked lively. He's got a lot of pace. He's been able to run away from was it Richards this end. He's been able to get him behind quite a lot, and he showed his pace, and he's won himself a corner. Which, as you mentioned, they're not looking to take this quickly.
Midway through the second half, Damsgaard waits to take this corner for Brentford, and Palace will be on the referee's back at every turn now. They haven't had the benefit of seeing the replays that we have, which showed the encroachment by Gay as the ball is floated in. Lacroix, who gave away the penalty for the foul on Collins, is the Palace player who's able to get the clearance in. And now Vitaly Janelt has got it by the byline, right-hand side. Brentford leading 1-0. Ball in towards Schade, across goal, and Wissa flung himself at it. Couldn't get the touch. Palace able to clear up towards halfway.
Yeah, it's really good play again from Brentford. They're keeping the ball alive from set pieces, and then it was whipped across. And I think it was Schade who got the flick on at the near post, and Wissa was trying to get in at the far post, but just well defended by Crystal Palace there and cleared up the pitch. And you can hear this Crystal Palace crowd now really trying to help their team, because they really need some help on the pitch.
Palace 0, Brentford 1. The ball has just bounced off Jean-Philippe Mateta. I'm not sure he intended it to be a pass to the near side, but it worked out and came the way of Daniel Munoz, and it's actually come off a Brentford player last as Munoz advanced, and Palace have a throw round about level with the Brentford penalty area. But they're taking their time over this, and Munoz eventually finds Will Hughes. Will Hughes for Sarr. Sarr's ball in is looking for Mateta. It doesn't find him. Damsgaard has offloaded for Johan Wissa. Wissa's pass is risky. He's given it straight to Iberra Eza just outside the area. Eza goes for goal, and it goes narrowly wide of the post.
Yeah, Wissa, he had the opportunity to set Schade on the attack. He was racing away, but he decided to go the other way, and he gave it straight to Eza, who's in the middle of the pitch, near the edge of the box, who had a couple of touches and put it onto his left foot, but he dragged it wide to the right-hand side. The left-hand side of Fleck, the right-hand side of the post.
Eddie Nketiah is being readied by Palace as Flecken continues to take as much time as possible before sending the goal kick long upfield. Hughes underneath it. Lewis Potter gets the clearance upfield. Johan Wissa putting the squeeze on Maxence Lacroix, who has dealt with it. Palace looking for an equaliser, and Lacroix is caught by the foot of Johan Wissa. High boot. Palace want further punishment rather than just the free kick, but that's all it's going to be.
Yeah, it's just he didn't catch him. It's just that's the rules. That's what happens, and you get the free kick. Let's get on with it.
Free kick which is taken by Henderson, long up towards Sarr, who got a touch on it, and it's going to dribble behind for a goal kick, and Brentford will again take as long as possible before restarting play. Tony Harrington having a word with the Brentford players, just saying he's got an eye on how long they're taking over these restarts, and when will he eventually brandish the yellow. You feel that that's bound to happen at some point, but Palace actually are going to make a change here, and they're going to bring on Eddie Nketiah for Ismaila Sarr, which is somewhat surprising. You would have thought they'd want an additional attacker on there rather than just 1-for-1. But that is the change that Ollie Glasner has made.
I think he's quite comfortable with this shape. It's worked for them the last few weeks. Well, it's been quite a settled side and formation, so I think he's quite happy to change just one or two players and personnel rather than system. And Nketiah's got that attacking threat.
Daniel Munoz gets it back to Richards. Palace 0, Brentford 1. Oliver Glasner saying that they need to get the ball forwards quicker. And he's pointed to the fourth official about how long the Brentford players are taking over the restarts. Keane Lewis-Potter goes down to tie his laces and then tries to adjust to where he's supposed to be taking the throw from, and he's going to pick up a yellow card for time wasting as a result of that.
It's really poor. You don't need to do that. Yeah, he's wearing gloves. He couldn't have tied his laces anyway. And then he's no point. You know where he's supposed to be taking a throw, and you're just wasting time. And then that could be crucial. He might need to make a team foul or something like that later on, and he's put himself in the book.
Well, I think that's what you want to see from referees, though, because it does just serve as a warning not to try and take liberties with the time wasting. Otherwise you might pick up a yellow card that could prove very costly further down the line. Here is Nketiah for Palace, trailing by 1-0. It's Jean-Philippe Mateta holding off Van den Berg and winning a free kick as a result of the nibble at him by Sepp Van den Berg. Will Hughes wants to take the free kick quickly, gets it back to Jefferson Lerma. Just over a quarter of an hour left to play. Brentford leading by an Mbumo penalty to 0 at Selhurst Park. Palace trying to find a way back into it, but haven't had any serious sights of goals since falling behind. Closest they've come to taking the lead, an Eza free kick that was deflected onto the post. That was when it was still 0-0. Such fine margins that you get in Premier League games these days. Will Hughes urged to have a shot at goal, which he does. It's deflected, and then Brentford can clear with Van den Berg. Van den Berg's ball forwards is towards Brian Mbumo. He gets to it and sends it back to Vitaly Janelt, and now Brentford have got it back with Van den Berg. Keane Lewis-Potter, left back area for Brentford, arcs it forwards, but to no one in particular, and Mbumo won't get to that, and it will be collected by Dean Henderson.
Yeah, it's been a good revival really from Crystal Palace. They're starting to press higher up the pitch, the crowd's helping with that, and it leaves Brentford in a position where they're having to just boot the ball up the pitch to relieve the pressure. So good play so far in these last few minutes from Crystal Palace to get back in the game.
Damsgaard plays it forwards. Lacroix is there though. Now it's broken in centre field for Jefferson Lerma. Here's Vera Eza. Palace coming forwards. Eza towards the edge of the area. Thought about having a go at goal. Checks back and momentum has been slightly lost. Will Hughes now with an effort. Blocked by Johan Wisser from about 20 yards out. Mark Gay will get to the loose ball. Palace 0, Brentford 1. 15 minutes left to play on 5 Sports Extra. Lacroix with a short pass to Gay. Brentford have got all their players back behind the ball now and saying to Palace, come on, try and find a way through. And you have to say they don't look likely to do just that at the moment. It's been a bit timid, a bit flat from them so far. Here is Maxence Lacroix in towards Will Hughes. Poor pass by him, and Brentford can clear. Schade though has given it straight away to Lacroix. Mark Gay urged to bring it forwards in towards Nketiah. Mateta's touch lets him down from inside the penalty area.
It's just the pace of the attack. When they try and go forward, it's not with any momentum. It's not with any sort of zip. You know, they're waiting and they let the Brentford players get back behind the ball, and then it's more difficult. Then it's harder to play through the lines, and because it's so compact in there in the Brentford defence, they're defending well. So they need, when they have that opportunity, they need to go, and they need to go quickly.
Out from the back by Flecken, he's given the ball away, so Palace have picked up a cheap throw level with the Brentford penalty area with 14 minutes of the 90 remaining. Palace 0, Brentford 1. It's still Leicester City leading 2-1 at Tottenham Hotspur. That one was also a 2 o'clock kickoff, so into the last quarter of an hour there as well. And live on 5 Live, it is Aston Villa against West Ham from 4:30 for you as well. So Palace with this throw. Jefferson Lerma getting ready to take a long one, and a long one indeed it is. Van den Berg gets his head to it. It comes out as far as Daniel Munoz, who sends it wide to the left. Jefferson Lerma down the line for Tyrick Mitchell. Mitchell's cross is blocked by Mads Rørslev. It's another Palace throw, but they don't look likely to find any way through.
No, Brentford are defending it well. You know, these long throw-ins, you know, with the weather conditions as well, the ball's going everywhere. So everyone's inside the box. Everyone's defending like their lives depend on it at the moment, and there's no way through it for Crystal Palace.
Lerma's long hurl into the area. Richard's got a flick on, and Nketiah didn't get hold of it. Still looking for his first Premier League goal for Crystal Palace, the summer signing from Arsenal, but he wasn't able to get any meat on his attempted hit there as they send it long upfield, and Mateta is seen to have fouled Collins. Palace in a hurry to get the ball back so that Brentford can take this free kick, but they are running down the clock expertly at the moment, leading by a goal to nil.
Yeah, they're taking the sting out of the game at every opportunity, and as soon as Crystal Palace get that momentum and that lift, they're just able to take the sting out of it and get themselves back in with a bit of a breather, take the time, and it's Crystal Palace that are going to have to come out and try and dominate and try and get back into this game, which can leave spaces for Visser and for Schade, especially, who's looked lively up the top end for Brentford.
Now, Eza has committed a foul just by the touchline, level with the Palace box, and Brentford have got another free kick, and that'll take another minute or so out of the game as well.
Yeah, clever play. I think they're just trying to, every opportunity, get the body in front of them, take a free kick, go down on the ball, and now they've got an opportunity to put the ball in the box with, the size of the centre halves and Visser, and you've got Schade in there. It's a real opportunity to get another opportunity at goal.
Thomas Frank is busy speaking to his substitute. He's got that tactics board out where he moves all the pieces around. Palace are readying Daichi Kamada to come on as well, but that will all come after this free kick for Brentford, with 11 minutes of normal time remaining. Swung in by Brian Mbeumo, cleared at the near post by Nketiah, only as far as Mads Rørslev, who's under no pressure on halfway into the centre circle. Jensen now is closed down by Jefferson Lerma, and Lerma doing his level best to try and squeeze the play. Flecken with the first time ball forwards, which is straight to Maxence Lacroix, and now here's Van den Berg, who's had a handball. Referee says not. Schade brings it over halfway for Brentford. He's got the overlapping run on the far side from Damsgaard. Damsgaard darts in field and now gets the ball in, and Schade's header 2-0. Brentford double their lead. Super header from Kevin Schade. That is an excellent goal. Really good cross by Mikael Damsgaard, and Schade was brave to plant the header beyond Dean Henderson. It flew into the net, and Brentford now are heading firmly for all 3 points.
Yeah, great header. He started the move as well, got the ball, played it out to Damsgaard, who was one-on-one with Mitchell, cut inside onto his left foot, whipped a really good ball. And as you mentioned about Schade being brave, he's getting treatment now, because he's jumped right in front of, I think it was Gehi, who might have been the centre half that was coming in, and he's got hit in the process. But a lovely cross, left foot whipped across, and there he is. Oh, it's Richards that he's clashed with, but a really powerful header that's gone past Henderson. He's had no chance with that. Really good header. And 2-0. Really, really good goal.
Well, that's 6 goals in his last 11 league appearances for Kevin Schade. He didn't find the net in any of the 16 prior to that, but it was a really good, strong header. He and Richards clashed heads, and that's why Schade is now receiving some treatment. But if Palace were a bit begrudging about their opener because of the retaken penalty, there's no one that they can blame for that.
No, not at all, and he's been lively today. He's done really well. He's threatened with his pace in behind. He's been able to link play, and there, as I mentioned, he started the move, and he saw that there's an opportunity to get himself in the box with an opportunity for a goal, and he's got there, and he was brave, and it's a really powerful header. So he's earned his start today. He's done exceptionally well.
So Palace heading for defeat here. Spurs also on course for defeat at the moment, trailing 2-1 at home to Leicester City. You wonder what that might mean for Ange Postecoglou going forwards. Of course, they had that victory in the Europa League in midweek, but a lot of talking points across the course of the weekend, and We will have 6:06 for you later on this evening, 7 o'clock, to get your calls into Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. Palace are going to make a double change here with the alterations coming with Romain Esse, the new signing from Millwall, coming on, and Daichi Kamada also being introduced as well. But it's too late surely for either of those to have an impact on the game in terms of altering this result now, Matt.
Yeah, 5 minutes earlier, I think there was the opportunity. The crowd was up, the lift was up, the spirit was there. But this has really taken the stuffing out of them. There's been a stoppage in play as well, which deflates everything with the momentum that they build up. But now, what have they got to lose? There was 8 minutes plus added time here. Now they've got to go for it. They've got to be able to put the ball forward. Mateta's going to be that man. He's held up the play really well today. It's just been that final end product, that shot at goal, or that cross in. It's just not been their usual spark today.
So Palace 0, Brentford 2, with 8 minutes of normal time left to play as well. Kevin Schade is up and moving, and that's good to see after that collision of heads between him and Chris Richards. But it's going to be Schade who goes off here, and he's going to have his place taken by Ihor Yarmouk, who is on for him. Not sure if that's a concussion substitute or just a normal straight swap, but he is off here. Chris Richards was the other player involved in that collision inside the box, and he is also heading off. I'm not sure if that is to receive more treatment or if it's to head off full stop. Anyway, Kamada is on, Esse is on, so for the first time we have Esse and Eze both on the pitch together. And there's going to be a fair amount of additional time after that lengthy stoppage there, as Palace do get play underway. Up towards Nketiah, flicked on for Esse to chase. Lewis Potter gets it clear, only as far as Jefferson Lerma. Lerma looped towards the far post, and Vera Eze, who's closed down by Mats Röslev. Here is Eze coming infield now, and his cross is towards Nketiah. Munoz back across and in, and it's Romain Esse. Would you believe it? What an introduction from the substitute on his Palace debut. Within seconds of coming on, he slots home from close range, and it's game on. Palace 1, Brentford 2.
Oh, splendid finish, really good. It's Eze who's got on the left-hand side, uses his strength, uses his power, and then he's delightful. It was like a real zipped pass or cross to the far side where Munoz was, who was unmarked. He guided in at the last minute, and he's selfishly not gone for goal, cut it back to the far post, and there's Eze. He's just found himself at the far post, where all good players do at the end of the game, right, getting inside of that far post, and he's hit the post on the way in, but he doesn't care. It's gone in, and it's 2-1. He's off celebrating. Great start for him for his Crystal Palace.
Well, the first passage of play after his introduction from the bench, and he's found the back of the net. What an impact! And can Palace find a way to get something out of this game? We've got 5 minutes of normal time left, but there's a stoppage at the moment as well for Brentford to have some treatment administered, which will add to the duration that we see at the end of the game. And Oliver Glasner is having a word with Tim Robinson, the fourth official, about the stoppage here. Mark Flecken looks concerned, as to the rest of the Brentford players are then having a word with Tony Harrington here. They're unhappy about something. I'm not entirely sure what, though.
No, there wasn't anything wrong with the goal. There was no fouls. There was nothing there. I don't know what they're probably trying to say to him. Look, you can't be penalising us for all of this time wasting. We're doing the best we possibly can to hold on to the game. But there's been an injury. There's going to be a lot of time added on, and as we mentioned about 2 minutes ago, now, was it too little, too late? It might not be.
Van den Berg was the player who was down receiving some treatment, and he is now going off the pitch. Tony Harrington making clear that he has to head off, and Brentford will get us back underway. Well, it's a bit of a false economy looking at the clock, which says 87 minutes on it, because the most important thing is going to be the board that Tim Robinson, the fourth official, raises in 3 minutes to show us how much additional there is going to be. But it's now Palace 1, Brentford 2, as Brentford get play back underway, and suddenly the volume rises further as Sepp van den Berg has just gone onto the pitch without actually having permission there, and he's been told by Tim Robinson to come off because you've got to wait 30 seconds. He just ran on without even checking with the referee as to whether he should have been permitted entry to the field. Lewis Potter takes the throw. Palace trying to win it back with SA, but it's going to be a Brentford ball in the left wing position for them. And Thomas Frank, from looking pretty carefree and jolly, is now a bit more pensive as he tries to ensure that his side don't blow a 2-goal lead. Damsgaard trying to get into the area. Jensen's there. Damsgaard sticks out a boot. Roerslev to have a hit from distance, and it's well wide of the Palace goal.
Yeah, he's not connected well with that. It was sort of a hit and hope type thing, but he's sliced right across in it. It's gone well wide of the post on the right hand side. But as you mentioned, I think now you can see the tempo and even the crowd. You can just see the impetus of what Crystal Palace need to do, and it's just energy levels. You know, they've been sloppy in possession, but they're back into winning second balls. It's passing is crisper, it's quicker.
Not going to be happy with Eddie Nketiah there, the Palace fans. A bit of a silly free kick that he's given away to Brentford just inside their own half, and Tony Harrington telling Mark Flecken to get a move on here.
Well, he had a jog for a second and then went back to the walk to go and get the ball, did he, Fleck?
So Oliver Glasner again making the point to the officials in front of him about how long is being taken over these restarts. Flecken now does eventually dispatch it long upfield. Brentford leading 2-1. Into the 90th minute we go, but there will be a lot of stoppage time added on. Whistler, though, has won the ball well. Oh, and it's off the post from Tyrick Mitchell. Nearly an own goal that would have absolutely wrapped it up for Brentford. Well, hesitation, almost fatal there for Palace, but Brentford come forwards with Jensen now. It's slightly behind Vitaly Janelt. Brentford, who were undone late on by Liverpool last weekend. It was 0-0 going into stoppage time. They lost that 2-0. They were leading 2-0 here. SA's first goal for Palace, reducing the deficit, and now Palace coming forwards once again. And here is SA once more, getting to the byline. Goes backwards of square. Palace trying to create at least one more chance. Daichi Kamada's ball in, cleared away by Matthias Jensen. Only as far as Mark Gay, who works it out to SA again on that left-hand side. His whipped cross is cleared by Collins. Damsgaard flicks forwards. Kamada is there for Palace. 90 minutes have been played, and we're going to have 9 added minutes. 9 minutes has been signalled by Tim Robinson, the fourth official. Palace don't seem to think that that's sufficient. Paddy McCarthy, part of the coaching staff, was haranguing the fourth official about that call, but they need to just concentrate on matters on the pitch as Tyrick Mitchell goes across to shut off the opportunity for Roerslev to make a clearance from a defensive position. But 30 seconds have elapsed and it's still Brentford leading 2-1.
Yeah, they're trying desperately to get back into this game now, Crystal Palace. The crowd are doing everything. The time wasting, they're sounding out the referee to keep this game flowing, but it's just going away from them. It's the quality in possession for the Crystal Palace here. They're just not quite finding that final pass, that final shot at goal. The effort's there, but it's the quality.
Bumo has gone through the back of his man, but Damsgaard has been clever and has won possession and won a throw, and once again Brentford doing their level best to take as long as possible over the restart. And Ben Mee is about to be brought on for Brentford to help shore things up and try and get them over the line here in South London. It's been a scrappy, bitty game, but one that Brentford look like they have managed to pinch as Palace almost overrun it in centre field. Daichi Kamada has actually overrun it, but then it's looped forwards for Eddie Nketiah, and across goes Collins to deal with it. It's out for a Palace throw on the halfway line. They need to get a move on though. They haven't done too much since the 9 additional minutes were signalled, and we played 2 of them. Back it goes to Dean Henderson. Palace 1, Brentford 2 on 5 Sports Extra. Leicester leading Spurs in stoppage time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Commentary of that is on 5 Live at the moment. That's followed by Aston Villa against West Ham at 4:30 as well, with John Murray and Stephen Warnock. Wissa for Brentford by the centre circle. Pocket picked by Maxence Lacroix. And Palace will start to build again. Gay to Romain Essa, who's already made a name for himself in the red and blue of Palace, having joined from Millwall during the transfer window. Heaved up towards Jean-Philippe Mateta. Well watched by Collins. Nketiah gets to the loose ball first. Here's Ibera Eza. Rolled out towards Romain Essa, but too much on it from Eza, and out it goes for a Brentford throw.
Yeah, and it's just one of them moments with Eza. He's been very sloppy today. He's had opportunities where he's had great crossing, great tactic, great touches, great flicks, but it's moments, and he's given the ball away quite a few times there. It's the momentum. He's right in the edge of the box, he's in the middle of the goal, and then he just tries to plays it out to his right side, but he's put too much on it and comes out for a throw-in, and it takes the pressure off. The momentum slows down, but Thomas Frank was delighted to be able to get Ben Mee on, because he's been screaming at the referee because the ball kept him going out.
Keane Potter's already been booked for time wasting and was running the risk of another yellow because he was taking his sweet time over that throw, but eventually he hurls it into play, and now Mbeumo has it in the centre circle. Not for long. Gaze won the header to take it off him, but Mbeumo now chasing the loose ball over the top once again. Gaze forced him wide, and Mbeumo can't get it into the area. Palace have got it back in their own penalty box, and it's again launched up towards Mateta. Real wrestle between him and Collins, and Palace get themselves the free kick.
He's done that so well today, Mateta. He's holding up. He's got Collins this time, but he holds the ball up. He wins the ball, and they're pulling him down. They're trying to get over the top, and he keeps the ball and gets himself and his team a free kick, which everyone is going up for.
Palace desperately searching for an equaliser. We've got 5 minutes of stoppage time left to play here at Selhurst Park. It's going to be Ibera Eza with this free kick just inside the Brentford half. Everyone in red and blue is up there. In it goes from Eza. It looks like it's been overhit though, and Collins can duck under it, and behind it goes for a goal kick.
Oh, it's so disappointing there. You've got everybody up, and it's just overhit. There's no one coming round the far post to try and get on the end of it, and now Brentford will be able to eke out a couple more minutes here at the end of this game.
Palace 1, Brentford 2. It's Spurs 1, Leicester 2 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Both games in stoppage time now as Mark Flecken takes this goal kick for Brentford, who are within touching distance of 3 points, a rare 3 points for them on the road in the Premier League. Esse's won it back again and sends it down the line for Mateta, who's trying to get the wrong side of Van den Berg, and Van den Berg has to put it out for a corner. Mateta wants more from the home fans. Palace have got a corner. What can they do with it?
Yeah, again, so strong Mateta. He's run up the line, he's used his strength and his pace to try and get the other side of Van den Berg, but he's given away for a corner. But this is a big opportunity now. Everybody is inside the box except for Mitchell. That's it, everybody in there. It's got to be a good ball. Missed the first man.
And Wind has managed to blow the ball out of the quadrant. The corner flag is almost going over as well at the moment. That's how windy it is. And now Tony Harrington is stopping things once again for confrontation inside the 6-yard box just in front of Mark Flecken, the Brentford goalkeeper. Well, they're trying to block him off, but they're trying to stay the right side of the law. In comes the free kick from Eza, and it's a disappointing one. Doesn't clear the first man. He will get to the loose ball. Is it going to be a better delivery this time around from Eza? It looks like it. The heads go up, and the ball is cleared, and Mbeumo could be away here. Brian Mbeumo, he's overrun it. Dean Henderson can come out and wallop it upfield. 3 minutes of stoppage time left to play. A long up and under, and then Was there a foul on the edge of the area? And the referee is awarding a free kick for Palace on the edge of the box.
Well, it was the linesman just in front of us here who's waved it. I don't think the referee saw it, but the linesman down here was waving his flag. I think it. Well, it was I'm looking at the replay now, and it's Gare. He's just running across. I don't think he's even going to make it. But I'm trying to see who it was that pulled him back. I think it was Van der Berg that just pulled him back a little bit. And now this has got to be the moment. You know, Eze is on the edge of the box. He's just right of centre, and he's on his own. There's no one else taking this free kick. And what a moment for him. He's had the first free kick has deflected and hit the post on the other side. So now what can he do here?
Well, there is the narrative, isn't there? The controversial free kick he scored at Brentford on the opening weekend that didn't count. Can he make this moment count and get Palace level from a free kick? Central position, just by the D of the penalty area, slightly right of centre. Ibera Eze, this might be the last chance for Palace to get something. And Eze over the bar, not far over, but it was over. And Palace's hopes now might also be over.
Yeah, it's a big wall to get up and down. You know, he's done the right thing. He's just got a bit too much on it. As I mentioned, it's a really big wall, so hard there. The distances to get up and down were really difficult.
Agonising watching for Oliver Glasner in the Palace dugout, arms folded, his mood as miserable as the weather here. But it looks as though Palace are going to fall short and fall to only their second defeat in their last 12 league games. And Brentford smiling for once on the road in the Premier League as well. They've lost 7 of 10 away games this season up until now. Just the one victory on their travels until this very likely looking one as we go into the final 30 seconds of the minimum of 9 minutes that were added on. There might still be a bit more on top of that, given that there were a couple of stoppages as Wissa goes to ground, looks for a free kick which he's not going to get, and Palace will give away a corner kick instead, which Munoz goes to put on the corner spot.
Yeah, but they're in no rush at all. Wissa's taking his time to get up from that collision with Munoz, and no, it doesn't look like there's going to be too many Brentford players in the box either. So these could be the last final moments.
Well, we played the minimum of 9 minutes that was signalled. The Brentford supporters whistling, urging Tony Harrington to blow the whistle. They've got a corner, so surely they just box clever here as we go into the 100th minute of the game. Palace 1, Brentford 2. Brentford do take the corner short. And how long will Palace have, if any time at all, to try and build one last attack? It's hacked forwards by Vitaly Janelt. Henderson comes to gather. Do they have time to get it forward once more? Henderson rolls it out. And now Henderson will bang it long. This is it. This is the game. Palace need to score now, or Brentford have won. It nearly comes from Mateta. Munoz is in there. Goes over on the edge of the box. Jefferson Lerma. It's a desperate scramble back there. I think Brentford have seen it out now. Tony Harrington has a quick look at his watch. Brentford asking why the whistle hasn't come yet. It's up towards Mateta. Flecken gathers, and that will do for Brentford. Flecken will take his time. We're into the 101st minute, and I think when Flecken gets rid of this ball, Brentford will celebrate the win.
Yeah, they've done well with the time. You know, they've managed the game really well, Brentford. Yes, they've had a few players booked for time wasting, but they've managed it well. They've put in the right positions, right areas.
Well, there we go. There is the full-time whistle. Brentford have held on to beat Crystal Palace by 2-1. A Brian Mbeumo penalty, a retaken penalty after his first one hit the post. He got another opportunity to take it because Mark Gay had encroached into the area and he made the clearance after it came off the post. And Mbeumo stuck away at the second time of asking, and then a fine header from Kevin Schade following a Damsgaard delivery made it 2-0. Romain Esse with his first touch after coming on for his Palace debut. The new signing from Millwall gave Palace hope, but they couldn't find a leveller, and it finishes Palace 1, Brentford 2. Matt Jarvis, your final thoughts?
Yeah, with the whole game as a whole, I think Brentford probably deserved that. They managed the game much better than Crystal Palace. In the final third, they were a little bit more effective. Crystal Palace had so much in the first half. They had great touches in and around the box, but just couldn't get that final end product, that shot at goal, that final cross. And then it was a bit more lacklustre in the second half for them. Only when they got that one goal back did they have that little bit of a revival. But overall, I think Brentford deserved the win.
So that is it from Selhurst Park. Palace 1, Brentford 2. Thank you very much indeed for your company, and a reminder that there is full commentary of Aston Villa against West Ham on 5 Live from 4:30. But from myself and Matt here at Selhurst Park, it's goodbye.